I'll send you a Snapchat right now.
Yeah, it better be a shirtless one.
But you don't have me on Snapchat.
Oh shit, yeah, you're right. Did you ever send me your Snapchat?
No.
So whose fault is this?
Yours.
Good reasoning.
Because you never sent me yours.
I've got his Snapchat.
Yeah.
Damn.
Give me your Snap name.
So-
Win.
My quote-unquote 8th best friend, Manny.
I don't know where 8th is coming from. This 8th thing is like, I mean...
Hi everyone, it's my birthday. It's my stream.
Yay!
Thanks. I've been alive for a long time now, so this is like an annual thing that I do. Just a birthday stream, shooting the shit, meme stream. We can go through a few things. You guys can, I don't know if you want to add anything or if there's anything in particular you want to talk about. But I want to talk about the sausage rolls first and foremost. It's the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, those are the breaking news for sure.
Yeah, the Greggs sausage rolls. Do you guys have, well, obviously you people from America are unfortunate because you don't have them there.
Yeah, this is just making me hungry.
Did you watch my video?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was
Man.
it was nice seeing that like they were like really prepared to like serve them that day, and that like another dude right behind you also bought some, and that was really heartwarming.
Every time I went there today as well, I bought 2 more, and the people behind me were like, "Oh, have you got any left?" So and they wanted more than one, and there was like 1 left. That was quite cool.
I've tried 3 times now, and I haven't had any luck.
Damn, unlucky.
Mm.
Come to the UK just to try these.
Please do.
Your
Very welcome.
your like parody with like
Ship them to the-
your parody of the song with sausage rolls was just like amazing.
Thank you. What
Did
do
you come up with
Yeah, it's just like, I love rock and roll, but with sausage rolls.
I don't think I've ever
Yeah,
listened to that song.
What?
Yeah.
How come you've not heard it?
We don't have
It's like-
rock and roll where I come from.
It's like, I love sausage rolls. Let's put another one in the oven, baby. It's really good. Yeah. So, like, there's the whole meme thing going on Twitter, on Greg's Twitter, with Piers Morgan hating on the vegans because of the sausage rolls, getting triggered by the vegans because of sausage rolls. We can't call them sausage rolls apparently because they're not real. They're not real
Wait,
sausages.
Wait, I didn't actually know. Wait, there's like drama around the sausage rolls?
Yeah.
Oh, so much drama.
Do you know who Piers Morgan is, man?
Yeah. He's right wing, isn't he?
Yes, very.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Wait, but what's the drama?
So, Greg's launched the sausage roll. Greg's released a tweet. Let me just find a tweet right here. And they said, "Oh, the long-awaited sausage roll." And Piers tweeted back, "What? Nobody fucking cares. Like, nobody's waiting for the vegan sausage roll." And then the very next day, it sells out. Greg's marketing team or whatever it was just so funny the way they reply to the tweets. They're just so sassy with the comebacks and stuff.
Did you know that Greg's marketing team also manage Piers Morgan as well?
Yeah.
That made me really disappointed because I thought it was all like real, but I don't know. I think it might have been
all like
free. Yeah, like kind of set up a little bit. It's still brilliant though.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't believe how much there is though, because there's just so much hatred towards it. Like I've never seen. It's like the country is completely divided. It's really weird.
I know. It's just like,
So much, it's like Brexit again. It's like mental.
there we go.
That's beautiful.
It's just like the advert is just so funny. It's just like dun dun dun. Look at this epic sausage roll! Oh my god. It's amazing.
I think the beauty of it is as well that there's more protein in the vegan one. It's 3 grams more protein.
Less calories too, less fat, and less carbs, I think, as well. It was just like it was lower on the fat and carbs, but higher on the protein for some reason.
Yeah.
It's got a hell of a lot of salt though.
Salt's good though.
Oh yeah, it's tasty.
I was a big fan of the fact that like McDonald's and Pizza Hut also responded. And like there's like this new marketing scheme where it's like just take the piss on Piers Morgan. Yeah, that's a good enough marketing scheme for these companies now.
They're all going in on it.
Yeah, it's like, and so the whole Veganuary thing as well. I found a few news things the other day. So I was going to talk about McDonald's later as well. So there's this. Veganuary bus adverts should be removed in Shropshire. So people, this councillor dude is triggered by the veganism. Oh, he's a Conservative. Adverts promoting veganism should be removed from buses in Shropshire because of the county's agricultural history, a senior councillor has said.
Good.
Deputy Council Leader Steve Chalmley said in a series of tweets, the posters meant bus firm Arriva was being used to promote fake news of vegangelists. Oh my God.
I'm kind of confused by this one because usually their argument is it's like the sorts of advertisements that PETA uses are debaucherous. So it's like they use like animal violence or like sexually explicit material. But in this case, they're literally just saying like, "Go vegan for January."
Yeah, that's
it's like a picture of like a happy. It's like a picture of like a happy cow.
Yeah, what actually is it? Yeah, it's just a happy cow. Sign up today, veganuary.com.
Yeah.
Hashtag save Rocky. I don't know what it actually says.
Opposition to veganism is just like hilarious.
I can't read what it actually says there. It's too small to read, but
they're probably just giving you like the life story of Rocky.
Cows must be made pregnant. Oh, okay, just a bit of education. Yeah. Shot at birth. All right, so it's a dairy cow, dairy calf.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Shropshire. Okay, so there's that one. I was going to talk about. Oh yeah, and so some memes I found as well on Facebook, which I found quite hilarious. So this one by the EDL. Yeah, it's crazy. So the EDL comes out with the English Defence League will be mobilising in Manchester this Sat to make our voices clear. The leftist vegan Greggs News has crossed the line. It's time to take our country back. Take our sausages back.
What the fuck? What is wrong with the right? This is just...
The sausage roll represents all that's good about our great nation. If we can't defend this English classic against the lefty vegan scum, we truly have nothing left. Oh my God, the typos are just insane as well. There's no punctuation. First they come for the sausage rolls, then it'll be Carling, which is a lager in the UK, if you're not familiar. Then the Great British Kebab will fall. Then what?
British kebab?
That's all there is to English culture. Just a sausage roll, kebab and beer.
I was under the impression that kebab was like a brown people thing.
It's British now.
Yeah, no, like, isn't that the entire irony of this? It's like, yeah, it's like these like xenophobic, you know, like racist Islamophobes, right? Who are all about British culture and shit, are just like, you know, taking the kebab. They're just like, yeah, that one's ours. You know, the rest of these like brown people and all this trash can get out. The kebab that can stay.
The beauty of it is as well. I think in one of the awards, like best kebab in the UK, What the Pitta won, which is a vegan kebab. So I bet they'll live it about that as well.
That's pretty cool. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, they won some kind of award for like, one of the best kebabs in the UK.
Was it like a blind taste test?
I think so. They're really good as well. Have you ever had one?
No.
No.
I haven't actually tried.
I was going to go back to London and go and get another one.
Just go all the way to London.
Just for that.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, the Great British Kebab is falling. So you've got to take it back. Yeah, the English Defence League stand in proud defiance against this evil. They are the knights chosen to slay Vegan Dragon. No surrender. We bought Go on.
I was just saying, like, I wonder what this is going to do in terms of like veganism being like a left, like being associated as like a left-wing movement, or like, the whole like meme of like the vegan like ethno-nationalist, like right-wing like types. It's like the vegan alt-right people meme, right? And how vegan is genuinely associated to be leftist. I'm just wondering like what this kind of like rhetoric is going to do, like contribute to that. It could like go either way, right? Like, although it might be like a good thing if more vegans become leftists.
Maybe. I mean, it's pretty leftist anyways. Like the majority of vegans probably are. I mean, there's no stats on it, so who knows? But it tends to be that way. I mean, if you're a leftist, you're probably more likely to be vegan, but it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're vegan, you are left wing, right? I guess.
I've seen a few polls on social media, and it like, are you left, right, or centrist? And it's usually left wing. Like among vegans, it's like 90% at least, usually. So I would say 85 to 90%.
This is good.
Where is this poll?
I've done it on my Instagram, which was around the same, and there was one on Twitter okay. I saw as well. So it's one on Twitter, shared it on Instagram as well, and it's usually about 85 to 90% are leftist. So,
is it one of your posts on Insta?
I haven't saved it, but I can go back and find it. Or I can do another one tonight. Actually, I might just do it tonight again and see what it is. Yeah.
This is your. I love your memes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is your page right here. Yeah, Piers Morgan is he's so offended by sausage rolls. Oh my god!
I know, it's beautiful, isn't it? That's the ironic thing, though, because when I speak to people, I always get called like overly emotional about being vegan, like I'm too invested in it. And then there's like people literally kicking off and getting upset about a sausage, and it's like, I don't know.
I had an argument with somebody on Facebook. I've started using Facebook again. I don't know why. I think I'm just gonna.
What a bad idea.
Yeah.
Awful.
So I just posted just like a really sort of stupid thing about the vegan sausage rolls sold out in Norwich, and it made the EDP news, which is Eastern Daily Press. It's just like a local paper, and I just shared it. It's like, it's because of me, because I bought them all the other day and ate them all. And this guy was just like, his response was just poor insects. And that was it. It's like, what the fuck? Like, is there any context to this? Like, nope, just poor insects. Okay, right. And then I asked him, okay, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm just posting about sausage rolls. He's like, oh, I'm just, because Piers Morgan, though. I'm like, okay.
God.
That's your response.
I think Facebook it's just the worst. I like it. I can only deal with Instagram. I can't deal with Facebook comments because it's just the worst people in the world. The things that you see in the comment section.
It is
makes you shake.
Warriors, they're amazing.
Which ones? What?
All the keyboard warriors, they're amazing.
Oh yeah.
It's really hard to hear that guy.
That's Hiro. Hiro, turn your microphone up. Can't hear you.
We'll do one second.
All right.
Why is Brent not talking?
I'm looking for a specific meme related to this.
Okay.
It was a really funny one of like a really like far right wing guy getting really mad about the sausage rolls.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready to share, and I'll stop sharing so you can chime in anytime you like.
I really should have joined after you were done talking about the sausage rolls. This is like killing me.
Okay, sorry, dude.
I'm not. No. By all means, continue.
What did you want to talk about?
Oh no, I didn't have anything in mind. Right, just like nothing that's gonna like contribute to the possibility of me getting in extra calories before I go to sleep.
Okay. I want to talk
Manny.
about McDonald's as well.
Ah,
We're gonna make Manny so hungry that he's gonna go and cook up a huge dinner right after this at 3 a.m.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Thing.
So yeah, we've got. I know. I keep talking about food, but it's just because I love food so much.
How is the McDonald's thing?
Oh, it's pain. It's all right actually. It looks kind of boring from the picture, but it's actually all right. It's just like a veggie fritter, goujon type thing with some sweet chili sauce and salad.
What's it made of?
What, the goujon?
Yeah.
It's like sweet corn and pepper and
Okay.
like nice crumb on the outside.
So they didn't bring anything vegan to North America for this thing. It's only in the UK and I think Chicago.
Yeah, I'm in Toronto, Canada. We don't have it yet.
Yeah, it's like only one location in Canada has vegan options now.
Do you know where?
Oh, not Canada, sorry, North America. It's only in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
But they only brought this to the UK like at all. I don't know if there's just like, I don't know, it's weird because the market for veganism is growing really fast in the US. It went from like, I think 2% of people being vegan or vegetarian to like 6% being vegan or like mostly vegetarian.
Is the UK more like vegan than the
No,
US?
no,
Oh.
the US has more vegans per capita.
What is this like 200 IQ like marketing? Like they're
It might, yeah, like it might be that like the people in the UK are taking this better than the people in the US might have. Like there might have been, there's a lot of like people in the US who feel that once a company makes what they appears to be a political statement that they boycott them, right?
Yeah, but I would have agreed with you had this UK stuff like not been like Piers Morgan, EDL. It just seems like the British aren't too far behind with that nonsense.
It's funny because I think in the UK there's a higher chance that they just like want to own the Conservatives, right? And so
Yeah.
memeing on Piers Morgan is like the more likely outcome. Whereas in the States, if someone like Piers Morgan popped up about the vegan items at like McDonald's, they'd be more likely to boycott McDonald's.
Fucking Americans.
I don't know if they will do that in the US. They're so brainwashed.
Oof.
It's crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know.
How so? How are they brainwashed? Like Donald Trump
been-
and everything like that?
Yeah, of
I don't know.
course. You can tell the kind of people that follow whatever happens over there, and like, I don't know. I think it's going to be way more difficult for the US to be a little more progressive like the UK. Even in Canada too, we're way behind. Even though Toronto, it is a bit of a mecca for vegan options, there's still a lot of progress that needs to be done.
I think it's been pretty good this year in the States. Like a lot of companies that were vegetarian have gone fully vegan now, like Morningstar and whatnot. And there's like things like the Beyond Meat Burger and the Impossible Meat Burger coming out that help a lot with offering vegan products to people.
Oh no, I'm definitely very, very hopeful and like positive about it. I'm just saying like it is going to take a little more effort there. Like here, like the Beyond Meat Burger has done amazing. Like they sold out at A&W, and now they have it like on stock all the time. And other restaurant chains having their own version of a Beyond Meat Burger, so it's actually really good. And you can buy the patties here at various supermarkets.
Oh my god, I love the Beyond Burger. It's so greasy though.
I haven't tried it yet. I've only had the No Bull. No Bull's pretty good.
Dude, where do you actually? Are you like near Liverpool then?
No, I'm from York.
Oh yeah, well I can tell by the accent. Yeah, but sounds like it's not as good as Norwich. We just got it
For
all.
veganism.
Yeah, just for stuff you can buy.
You can. I think for independent stuff, I think Norwich will be better. But I think Norwich is like the capital of veganism, isn't it? Really, sounds like you got loads on there.
I have no idea. I guess so. I mean, I don't know. People as far as like I can't remember who I was talking to, but somebody from the US was saying, "Oh my god, I've heard of Norwich and how it's a vegan capital." I'm like, what? It's just like this really small city in the UK that nobody knows about.
Yeah, York's all right. York's got bits and bobs. Well, there's two vegan restaurants that have shut down in this last year. So, yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about with McDonald's is so I have a lot of vegans actually have a problem with that's cool. They have a problem with McDonald's as a company, and they won't buy anything from McDonald's like at all because they say it's an inherently evil company. But the problem I see with that is that I don't see any distinction between McDonald's buying anything from McDonald's and buying anything from Tesco's. If you're buying a plant-based product, what do you guys think about that? Any thoughts?
There's no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Okay, what do you mean?
What?
I think if we're working within the framework of capitalism, so we don't just beg the question against capitalism real quick. It is the case that vegans should be buying vegan products from these companies that don't have vegan products. Because they differentiate demand between the different products, right? And so if it's the case that you can show them that there's a demand for vegan products, they're going to produce more vegan products.
Yeah. It's the thing as well. It's not even just that as well, though. It's like if you said to somebody, oh, yeah, well, if you're doing some outreach and you're talking to someone and they say, well, you can't get vegan food anywhere. And you go, actually, you can get from Greg's, McDonald's, Starbucks, Costa, even and if you can list all these places that do vegan food, it just makes it so much more accessible. So, and obviously, if we, as the vegans right now, boycott them places, then I think it eliminates chances of new vegans discovering it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think they're more of a tool that we can use to try to turn all the carnists to our side. They're not really meant for us anyways as vegans. We can maybe support them just to get the ball rolling, maybe getting some of those dollars in their pocket so they can see, okay, maybe this vegan thing is a good thing. And then other people will jump on. Or as simple as bring one of your friends to McDonald's and be like, let's go try it together. Let's go see what the fuss is about. You never know. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think it kind of gets it more in the mainstream as well, if you buy from the place as well. Just people seeing it on the menu, it makes it less of that weird thing that people have heard about, veganism. It makes it more it's actually in McDonald's as well, so it's less like this weird kind of thing, more accessible, socially more normal.
Yeah, for sure. And it's our job to make it normal. Start going there and just making a little story on Instagram. Hey guys, guess what? McDonald's has a vegan thing and it's good or it sucks, whatever it is. It doesn't matter as long as people know.
Because I think a lot of the time people are like, but what about McDonald's and what about Ben and Jerry's and stuff? And if them are still there, it just makes it that easier to push them that way. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It's just sometimes you do think though, you're giving money to people who do some terrible things and stuff, but
I know. I feel conflicted about it too. You are giving them money that is going into, but that's the only way change is going to happen. We got to suck it up for now.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I get conflicted.
Look at that photo that she posted. That looks amazing. If I wasn't a vegan and I just saw that, I'd be like, yo, I actually want to try that vegan thing at McDonald's.
Yeah, look at the. I mean, this person here has said it's hard for me to justify a vegan buying in McDonald's. I know this is a polemic subject. I think that means problematic. And vegans get especially upset about this. But I'm into a good rational explanation discussion. I understand the demand theory, but to me, still does not justify a vegan buying from an evil company. Well, Tesco's is evil then by the same standard. Nobody wanted the Nazis to change. They wanted them gone. I'm not really sure what they mean by that. Can anyone decipher what?
Yeah, I can't decipher that.
Go for it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no, all they mean by polemic is that it's like contentious or controversial. What they mean by not wanting the Nazis to change, I think, is they don't really understand what they say by that. Like when they say that they want the Nazis to change, what they really mean is they want the government to change. And so if it was the case that like the Nazi party realized that it was incorrect about a lot of things and it changed its ways due to demand or on like rational bases, we wouldn't have a problem with that current state of the Nazis. We would have a problem with the historic state of the Nazis.
Yeah, this is true. Because McDonald's could be a vegan company one day. Who knows? You know.
Yeah, like if one day Hitler
And so
wakes
could
up, right?
Tesco's.
Like if one day Hitler wakes up and he becomes like fully socially liberal and is like becomes like a Marxist overnight, understands that everyone should be equal and stuff like that. And it's the case that the Marxists are going to agree with that. They're not going to say, well, no, you held these views earlier and we're going to hold you accountable to those if the Nazis come out and say that they have a different view now. To do otherwise would be irrational.
Yeah.
And so the idea of like buying from McDonald's is by buying these things that are vegan or in line with our values, we help influence their decisions in terms of how they invest into like marketing and research. And so there's going to be more marketing for veganism. There's going to be more research into like vegan foods. So like as long as like we're like if we're operating within like the capitalist framework, we have no reason not to shop at these places. As long as what we're doing doesn't derive a demand for the suffering of animals.
Yeah, it just seems like that view is like some deontological like nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Just like it's some like weird like principle when you can just be like, look, if what we're just trying to do here is like get less animals to suffer, and this thing contributes to that, like what the fuck is the objection really?
I feel like it's kind of cutting your nose off, spite your face. It's kind of like just, do you know what I mean? Just kind of, yeah.
Well, I mean, you could say that buying from any supermarket is evil because you're keeping that supermarket open, which sells the Canis products. Therefore, you're not increasing the demand for the Canis products by buying the plant-based products, but you are giving them the opportunity to sell those other products, right?
Even if they're organic too, remember.
Yeah, exactly.
If we want to pick at this little scab.
But I would say that those outlets are the best way to promote the vegan food because there aren't any 100% vegan supermarkets, well, not in my area anyway, and the ones that are just all organic.
Yeah, we gotta admit we can't escape some kind of funding of the cruelty and stuff. All we can do is put the demand on the products that are gonna start the change and just keep at it. That's all.
Yeah, so I broke this down to this person, and they thought that I was I don't know. They were like, "Oh, look, I'm not trying to attack you." I'm like, "Well, no, I'm asking you. Can you spell out the distinction between Tesco's and McDonald's?" And all that they said is just that, well, McDonald's is just an evil company compared to Tesco's. I don't know in what way they differ. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's a fair point. To be fair, that's what whenever I say about anything like that, that's what my girlfriend always says about like kind of. Well, you shouldn't shop at Tesco and you shouldn't shop anywhere that kind of sells those kind of products because it's I agree with that, to be fair.
Yeah, because that's kind of like a purist kind of vegan, like, or some kind of elitist vegan, right? So, I
mean, again, like even if you just look at like the amount of like demand for vegan food, how it's changed the landscape of like supermarkets anyway. Like you'd never be able to buy like a vegan sandwich a couple of years ago, like from Tesco, but now they've got the whole Wicked Healthy range. And it makes everything so much easier for people to actually transition. So yeah.
And Connor, did you want to talk about organic? Because you said to me that you were kind of you were thinking about it, but you weren't really sure.
Yeah. So like,
how you feel about it?
I was talking to Vegan Ray about it, and he brought up your name So I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind like having a live stream and talking about it. And then you pretty much convinced me when we spoke, and I think I watched your video against, I can't remember what it's called, that personal trainer Ray Thunderstorm, whatever he's called. I can't remember what's his name.
Logan Blake.
Blake, that's the one. Yeah. Which was absolute.
Yeah, it was AIDS.
Yeah, afterward I was looking at AIDS. It was totally.
Holy brain AIDS.
But then I saw something to do with vegan foot soldier, and he had a debate, didn't he? Who did he debate?
It was Will from the Discord server.
Right. How did it go? By the way, I didn't get a chance to watch that.
It could have gone better. I think the problem is Foot Soldier was all he was doing was saying, "Well, I've got these 60 different sources of." Basically he was using anecdotal evidence from farmers, organic farmers that he'd spoken to. So he's bringing up that, and then he was bringing up the fact that he'd looked at 60 different studies and just came to the decision that organic wasn't organic isn't. It is vegan, or it is not.
Yeah.
It is not contributing to more of the Holocaust, and also because he thinks it's healthier somehow.
Right.
But he wasn't. He wasn't. He was just sort of like cherry picking, really, and that was kind of what Will was trying to get across. But because they weren't showing their sources, it was very difficult to understand what they were talking about. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. Yeah, I mean, I think one of his points, what he said was a lot of farmers usually swap around like manure and stuff and all that kind of thing, and they'll usually kind of like, instead of like, you said if we don't buy organic, then they'll have to get rid of their waste products. He said that a lot of them just swap it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm not too sure how true that is. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty much on the side that organic is. I don't know if it's carnist. I don't know if I want to say the word carnist. What would you say? Would you say the word would you say it's carnist?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you don't know that it's, because it's a byproduct that comes from a Holocaust industry, and it can be used as it can be used as a commodity, or it can lower the production costs of the carnist products by virtue of the fact that they can exchange it for other things, or they can even if they're not selling it for profit, or they don't make profit, like they'd have to pay fees to get rid of it, so they're saving money. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah. And
whereas if they couldn't do that, then they'd have to pay extra, or they'd have to. It would mean that they would have to make the price of their product higher.
Yeah.
So therefore, the cheaper the product is, then it's going to increase demand. So therefore, more victims, essentially.
It's a tricky one, because I feel like I wouldn't ever. I don't know if I'd ever be angry if someone bought it, but I'd say go out your way to not buy it. But I don't know if I'd be as angry. I haven't fully.
Yeah.
It's so dissociated from it. Like even like things like milk was hard for me at first to kind of think it was wrong until like I saw everything, and I feel like this is like another step away. So it's almost like hard to kind of like. How right? Yeah, I mean, but the one that made me, I was kind of thinking to myself about it, and I was thinking, if I found out that in an industry that was killing dogs sold like dog entrails, like the intestines of dogs and their manure and stuff, like I would never buy that, and I felt very hypocritical, so that's why I was against it. And
or humans, if there was a human Holocaust, and you knew that the waste products from that human Holocaust was being used to fertilize your plant-based products. I didn't think you want no part of it.
So I did feel very hypocritical in that regard, I think. Yeah. So no, I think I'm on board. I think I am on board with it. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tricky one to convince people of, though.
I mean, if you know about it and you have a choice to not buy it, if there's other options, then it's just a case of, I mean, are you morally obliged to choose the one that causes lesser suffering than the one that causes, I mean, we can be fairly certain that organic.
I find it a little hard now. Like a lot of the places that are vegan here in Toronto, especially, they're pushing to have more organic products in their food. So then after I heard about the whole organic thing, I'm like, well, never eating out again, I guess.
Oh, really? What it's hard. Like,
yeah, the restaurants they kind of almost take pride on like, oh, our vegan food is made with organic stuff, and now I'm like, well, yeah, that doesn't help me. I don't want to support that.
So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how would you convince now restaurants that are up and coming to like convince them from from organic to conventional. Like, I don't know if they'll get it.
Well, you can do it in a lot of ways, right? You can go about it in the economic way. It's probably cheaper for them to not go organic. You can
definitely.
You can show them the health case that there isn't really any reasons to go organic for health.
But there's the thing. I think it's the public that is pushing more for them to have the organic stuff, and I think it's an incentive for them to have the organic because then they can charge more.
It's such a buzzword.
Maybe, but then what they're doing is in effect like the same thing that any one person might say, like, okay, well, I'm a vegan restaurant, but I want to serve fish because some people might like fish and I can make money off that fish. It's still exploitation of some suffering, right? And so if they've been given the ethical argument and they don't have any defeaters for it, then it's the case that be like acting in non-accordance with their ethical views.
Mm-hmm. And they don't.
Yeah, I can see it being. Sorry, go ahead.
You don't need to be an organic place or have that label to be able to charge more. And I get what you're saying that it's being like pushed for, but I mean, like, I think restaurants like Chipotle or whatever, as popular as they are, like, I can imagine that if they came out with just some type of menu or some location that had no organic food, that I mean, I can't imagine that it would actually be hit so hard that that it would be such an issue. And like, as far as convincing companies, some companies are just going to go with whatever people are going for. But in the case of like vegan companies, which seems to be the ones that we're most concerned with, they could just be, you could just present them the case the same way you would a vegan, since they have those values.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. We have to educate the vegan business owners about it, and then hopefully it spreads out to the rest of the public.
Mm-hmm. And there was actually a secondary thing that I've heard people propose, which is that a lot of these places get this vegan label by these different third-party organizations that you appeal to that will, they certify your things as vegan. Now, there's no one overarching body, but there are like main bodies that seem to cover most of things. So even if it were the case that you could convince those certifying companies that organic was carnist, then it would be within their power to retract the vegan label from any company that doesn't comply with the new organic standard.
Yeah, like the Vegan Society, they should do that. But,
yeah.
It's just the case that they won't, and they've openly said, like in responses to emails and stuff, that if they did that, then it would reduce their capacity to open up the market to for more vegan products. So that.
Yeah.
Connor, is that your mic? It's really loud.
Hey, sorry. Oh, sorry. Is that better now?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just like shuffling and stuff.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
It does seem like I know that you made or somebody made this argument a slightly different way, but yeah, like if we're willing to include something like organic in order to make it more appeal to like a wider audience, then what's the difference of adding like, okay, well, we want as many people to be vegan as possible, so let's allow for fish because that'll cast a wider net on people who are willing to be vegan, right? And so it's kind of just like a weird thing.
Yeah, it seems
I think there should be more of a demand within the vegan businesses to demand like the veganic, organic, try to put that more into effect. I know it's just like stuff for the future, anyways. Like we got to worry about turning more of the regular non-vegan places to have vegan options and start growing that market before we can worry about switching from organic to conventional. It was just a thought, though.
That's what I say. But the thing is, how can you? I mean, I find it really hard to justify organic. If you say, we need to try and make it more accessible, so just let's allow. I mean, let's allow organic to be classed as ethical and within the remit of veganism. Then I don't know. It seems really strange to me because, again, if the byproducts from a Holocaust industry of humans, were being spread as fertilizers on my plant-based products, I would just be like, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Oh, definitely.
So, yeah. I mean, I know it's just the norm now. It's deemed, healthy and it's popular and people are into it. But people don't really know this. They don't really think about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't think about it for 4.5 years.
Something good that's starting to happen in Toronto too, when it comes to food, and like we know there's a lot of food waste in Toronto. There's so much food waste. A lot of people are starting to do dumpster diving and literally recovering some of that food that was otherwise going to be thrown out. And there's one place in Toronto that's actually started an initiative that they have a collaboration with restaurants and with some supermarkets, that the stuff, instead of getting thrown out, they're donated to this place where people can come in grocery shop, but they pay what they can. So for people of low income, so you might be able to get $30 worth of groceries, but you only pay $10 because that's all you got. But it's recovering a lot of the food that was otherwise going to be wasted. But yeah, a lot of people, vegans especially, obviously, are doing dumpster diving just to try to help. And yeah, if you can save some money just by eating some food that was good, that was in a dumpster, who cares?
Yeah, I think there should be more of that. That's a really good idea. They do that in Norwich, actually, a little bit. I think they do like a weekly meal, like a 3-course meal from just waste from different places, supermarkets, and people go around and collect all this food and then just make huge meals for like homeless people and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've only done it a couple times. The last time I did it, I did find some like great bananas, and I made some ice cream. Very nice.
Oof, that sounds amazing. A bit of nice cream.
What are them people call it? Is it freeganism where they do that? But they eat meat as well, don't they? Is that the same kind of thing where they dumpster dive, don't they? And they don't actually
pretty much, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Would you be against someone doing that as like a thing if they took meat out of dumpsters and ate it? Would you say that was unethical?
No, but here's the problem I have with it. I wouldn't promote it because it's not sustainable. Because if everyone was like that, then it's like, well, no, you can't have all food waste. You can't. No one.
Yeah.
Not everybody can do that because there's not going to be enough to go around, and then So.
Yeah, it's more of an option to, like, if you can get, let's say, 2%, maybe 5% of what you usually would have gone on your groceries off a dumpster to subsidize what you usually get. It's more of that. It's like, if it was going to be wasted, if you can get $5-10 worth of stuff once a week, maybe once a month, who cares? It's a little bit that helps. And especially a lot of people do it too. They collect it and then give it back to like people that are homeless, that are on the streets and stuff. Or make meals with that stuff and then donate the money, or sorry, the food.
That's really cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, so the other thing I want to talk about with Bryn, but I don't know if he's still there, is a bit about GMO. How do you guys feel about it? GMO foods, Monsanto, Bayer.
I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. I don't think. What's your opinion on it?
Well, I am a Monsanto shill.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the check to come through my door any day now.
Nice.
That's what I do, because
because
I'm anti-organic, so therefore, you know, I'm working for Monsanto now.
GMO girl.
What? Sorry?
Said you're a GMO girl. We got you.
Yes, I am. I'm Bay as Bay.
I don't think it's bad, but I don't know enough about it. So maybe I'm being a bit naive. But no, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a bit hyped up. How bad it is, I don't know though. I'd like to know more. Who's an expert on it?
Bryn.
Is he for or against it?
He's for it.
I spoke to a in some outreach in Liverpool. I was talking to this guy at university who's doing like a master's in kind of like genetics in animals and plants and whatnot. And he was kind of talking about how they've recently made like a tomato, like a GMO tomato, that the enzymes in the tomato stop the rotting process from happening as quickly.
Yeah.
So you can keep food fresher for longer. And I thought it was a genius idea. So I don't understand why that would be bad. He named a couple of another little innovations like that. So yeah, I can't see why it's bad.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of like there might be some better arguments out there, but I know that colloquially it just seems to reduce down to just some type of like appeal to nature, where it's just humans made this and that's bad and that's not natural and that's
that's pretty much Sperridge's only argument to anything. It's just it's man-made, therefore it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems a bit, well, why though? There's never like an explanation as to why. It's always just man-made.
We are man-made, so we are bad.
Yeah, I always say, what other memes have I seen recently?
I'd say what's a really good page for memes is Vegan Vizard. Have you heard of him?
Is it on Insta?
Yeah, he's really good. He does some really funny memes.
Oh, the Vegan Wizard? He's amazing.
Yeah, he's so good. He's the nicest guy ever as well.
Vegan Wizard?
Vegan Vizard with a V.
V-I-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I absolutely love him.
There's a funny Instagram profile. It's called Vegan World Agenda. Have you seen this one?
It's a debate. I've tried it, and he's an absolute loon. I've never met anyone.
I know. Vegan World Order. Sorry, Vegan World Order. Yeah,
that's the one. He's got two profiles. And I said to him, I'm going to live debate, and he was kind of like, "You're not worth my time." And I think he's got like, how many followers has he got? It's 7,000. God, he's grown since last time. 3,000 before. Yeah, and he said, "I'm not worth his time."
So, he's not worth your time, or the other way around?
Yeah, like I'm not worth his time. He said, like, and I was like, but I'm literally like, I've got a bigger page than you. And he was like, yeah, whatever. Like, go stroke your ego somewhere else. And I was like, oh, that makes sense, doesn't it? So he refused to do it. So
I love this one. Vegans like to say we're herbivores. This is, I mean, yeah, I don't really like to say that, but you know, whatever. Rabbits eat their own shit. Gorillas eat their own shit. Maybe vegans should eat their own shit. Oh my god! Oh, that's hilarious. Did he come up with that? I thought that's cool.
He's got some really good ones.
Yeah, look at him.
He's so funny. Here we go.
I don't know. You can't hear it, can you? But
oh, good. His voice is terrible.
Let's shatter another one of these vegan delusions.
Oh, he's great. I love him.
He's got a beard as well, so he must be, you know, legit. Everything that comes out of his mouth must be, the truth, because he's got a beard and he's a carnivore. So you know.
Oh, so that one with the shade top. Is he topless as well?
Yeah.
Showing off. Let's have a look.
A holocaust of insects.
Isn't he also big on like anti-vaxxing and stuff too.
That
Or
guy
at
there.
least he's against. Yeah, I think he's at least against like liberalism.
He has one page that's massive. It's like he's got like 70,000 followers.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
this
got
guy?
two. Yeah, he's got two different pages. He's got that one and another one. So he's got that vegan one. That's
Okay.
vegan. He's got another one that kind of just kind of talks about everything else. But I think he's an anti-vaxxer.
Like this one. Danish doctor warns vegan food may lead to mental retardation.
No link to the actual
No,
article.
no.
Just literally a headline by Emma R.
Who is she? Raising a child.
Just some random Danish doctor. That's nice.
Yeah. Raising a vegan child is utter child abuse. Wow.
I might message him again, actually. I might see if he's up for it again. He might have changed his mind.
Do it. That'd be so
we'll do.
nice.
It'd be really fun.
His voice is quite entertaining, so it'd be quite.
His voice is awful. It grates like nails on a chalkboard, doesn't it? Awful. Sounds like he's, like doing that thing with his nose. It sounds like that, like when you close your nose up.
Really nasally, yeah. Like
yeah.
It's got a real twang to it.
He's very against GMOs.
Oh yeah.
I think, what did he say? I think one of the theories, right, that a lot of conspiracy theorists have is that veganism and GMO soy is going to make men infertile, which then we'll all die off, and then the Jews will take over the world when we're all infertile. That's what he thinks. That's what I got told.
But Israel has like one of the highest like percentage populations vegans in the world.
It's all deception, apparently. So, yeah.
I'm sure it is.
There you go. Yeah. There's always a way around it.
All that soy that they import, I'm sure that it's just all from deception.
So yeah, that's what's happening apparently. Free bacon.
Yeah, this is something I found the other day. It's quite funny. So this Buck Inn place, off the back of Veganuary, obviously they're hating on. They're using the Veganuary campaign to increase their, full price meals because they're trying to make people feel bad about wasting meat. So they've put "Don't waste meat because Veganuary," and in the background they've got a picture of a factory farm. It's like, what the fuck?
God.
So it's like, oh, okay. So we've bought this. It's as if they've bought loads of bacon. They can't shift it because people are going vegan for January. Now they've got to give it away for free.
Oh, God. It's big, I was walking through a town today, and like there was loads of signs in restaurants talking about Veganuary. Like everywhere I looked, there was like A-boards or like signs in the windows for Veganuary. It's massive. I didn't realize how big it was.
It is. Like everyone is. Most people know about it now, and they know what it is.
Yeah, and where I work as well, almost about 5 people now like saying they're doing Veganuary. It's only been like, what is it now? 7th, 6th minutes, I think. I've seen those people. I've seen those people doing it. And last year, I don't remember seeing one person doing it.
Well, there's even like company response to it now, where like it's affecting like dairy enough to where they're trying to come up with like Febudairy and stuff.
Oh yeah, Febudairy, yeah. Also, in the UK, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you go down like the ambient milk aisle where it's all kind of like and where all the Oatly and stuff is, in the UK they've started to market milk like Oatly, like kind of like quirky packaging and like in that carton shape and stuff. And they've copied it completely. It's called Moo.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah. I took a photo of it the other day, but my phone broke, so I'm going to get another one and kind of show like what they're trying to do. It's so like, it's really sly and it's so desperate as well.
Yeah.
It's really cringy.
Let's find it actually. What is it called again?
Called Moo, I think. Some kind of like moo thing. I think it's called Moo.
That's a good sign though. You can tell they're freaking out.
It's really good. That's what I thought as well. It's like
I remember going to a supermarket a year ago, 2 years ago when I went vegan, and the non-dairy section was literally like 3 shelves. Nowadays it's like the whole aisle. The milk got booted to like the corner, and like all the old Italian nonos and nonas, all the grandpas and grandmas are like buying oat milk and almond milk and stuff. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
well, the funny,
Good. Go ahead.
Free range organic
There you
moo
go.
whole
Yeah,
milk.
there you go.
This is
Yeah,
the one.
haven't they gone as far as to say like, oh, our cows are vegan or something, just to promote like milk?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Actually, there's a burger shop here that does do that. I was sending a picture of it in the Discord the other day. They advertise that their chickens are vegan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Fuck, and you
advertise
thought
that,
they couldn't get any lower.
Yeah, they
It's just
advertise that in my
it's
area, but they just
it's
say
just super
vegetarian chickens.
it's just super incoherent. It's like, why would it matter if the chickens are vegan? You're still eating the chicken.
Yeah, Brendan, your mic is super low, by the way.
My
Here's
mic?
Yeah, cosine.
Oh shit.
Simple, natural goodness. Whole milk. Yeah, it does kind of look a bit like Oatly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially when you walk down the shelves as well, it just kind of blends in with it and kind of like makes it kind of look like it's like that kind
Yeah.
of.
Look at the bottle.
Well, like, it's-
Simple, natural goodness. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We make time for milk. Hmm. There's a real oat milk shortage in the UK, apparently.
Yeah, it's
You guys know
crazy.
about it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so popular. It's ridiculous. Like so I work in a coffee shop in York, and the amount of time, I think in the last 2 years, I've had about 5-6 phone calls from different dairy suppliers trying to sell their milk. And then one guy actually came in the other day and was like, "Oh yeah, we've got this milk and stuff. Like, you can come down to the farm and check it out." And I was like, "I don't think you want me at your farm, mate." I was like, "I don't think you want me there."
Yeah.
And it's just like there's been this big push to kind of push dairy recently, and oat milk has gone up so much that we have to like get so much of it in at a time because we just run out so fast. It just goes so quickly.
Yeah, so apparently these coffee shops that had Oatly as their supplier, Oatly ran out, and then have you heard of Minor Figures?
Yeah.
They took over the supply, didn't they? And now they've run out.
Yeah, Minor Figures have got a really good push. They're in Sainsbury's now as well. They're doing really well, really nice as well.
Yeah, because they're better, non-organic as well.
Is it really? No way.
Yeah, and it's just better than Oatly, I think, in terms of
really, because
coffee.
Oatly British is amazing. Like it's
I don't think so.
It's ridiculous. Like I can't believe it's. Sometimes when you get handed down to people say like, "Oh, I had oat milk," because it's so good. But yeah, I've only tried Minor Figures a couple of times, and yeah, I mean, I think Oatly's just a bit above. I love the branding
Speaking
as well.
of shortages, there's actually a shortage of tofu where I live right now because of the amount of people that are trying veganism here right now.
A shortage of oh my god, what?
Yeah, you literally can't buy like extra firm tofu anywhere. You can only buy like the super soft, like
no way,
like local. There's a huge movement right now in my city to like try veganism, advertising it around in places like that. Like all the like major restaurants are like creating vegan menus for January and stuff like that, and all the major supermarkets are sold out of tofu.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of thinking of it more as like kind of like a funny way where like people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna try out Veganuary for the month. What should we get?" Well, it's vegan. Let's just buy like a brick of fucking tofu or something. Just buying like whatever they think is like a vegan thing. What a vegan? I don't know. Let's buy some tofu.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
How successful have you been in like convincing like vegans that organic is carbs? Like, are they like easily accepting of it, or like how much resistance have you seen?
I think it was like both ways. Yeah, I think it's like it depends on like principles, and also. So the thing is there's like a lot of vegans, they're utilitarian, but the way in which they're utilitarian kind of differs. So there's a lot of people who are like negative utility, and so they'll buy into this a lot better because they'll say, okay, well, yeah, this seems to be able to decrease suffering by me doing this. If it's the case that it's like just well-being maximization, utilitarian, then it might be the case that they don't buy. There's a lot of somewhat valid arguments, at least at face value, against the organic argument. But the more you sort of investigate it, it becomes pretty indefensible.
Gotcha.
Have you told a non-vegan about organic? Because I've never seen a bigger eye roll. I was telling someone who I work with that it's organic isn't vegan anymore, and she just it just went to the back of her head. She was like, "Oh my god, like just give it up." And it was like part of me wants to keep it secret until the vegan go and just let you know you can't do this as well, because like I feel like it's just a big turn off. It's almost like even though people probably don't even eat organic food, it feels like another thing that they can't do. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because with me, I think the only organic thing I bought was tofu, cauldron tofu. But apart from that, it's more expensive anyway, so I can't imagine it was that much of a turn off. But people just, it seems like it really annoys people when you tell people that organic isn't vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like another thing, like just so extreme and too far and stuff.
I had that scenario where somebody kind of forced me into the situation where they're just like, "Oh yeah, he's vegan and also he's doing this organic thing now." So I like, to somebody who just doesn't know anything about any of it.
Yeah.
And so it was funny because like I think that was like the fastest I'd ever spoken before. Because he was like waiting for me to give him a rundown on organic. I was like, well,
so because I always get called like at work as well, like people always like refer to me as like, well, it goes proper vegan and stuff. And with the organic thing as well, people just think I'm like this like health nut that just jumps on fads. And it's like, oh, now it's organic too. And it's like, oh, so you jumped on the next bandwagon. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people think that as well.
I haven't gotten that response, but I do get the people peg me as like health nut pretty often.
Yeah.
Just for,
Yeah, they try and put that into that box, don't they? Yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of when I went to the Christmas party for work, and I was worried about, is there going to be any vegan options there? What are they going to bring out for me, And when I got there, I saw that there was veggie spring rolls and fries and sweet potato fries and like some fruit with chocolate, like dark chocolate dipping sauce or whatever. I was like, look, there's some vegan options on the table already. But apparently the email I'd received from work made it out like there was going to be a vegan table or something as well. So I asked one of the staff, said, where's the vegan table? And she was like, oh, okay, one sec. I'll just be right back. I'm just going to, get it from the chef. And she came out and it was just a plate of crudité, like peppers and carrot sticks with some hummus just on one plate. And she said, because it's healthy. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's Christmas, for fuck's sake. Yeah, so it's hilarious. Well, I knew that was going to happen, though, because it was just some hotel in Norwich, so obviously.
You can see, like, the markings on the peppers just from, like, how annoyed he was to have to prepare them at all.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, I actually made out pretty well for being a vegan. My work, typically, if you're one of the unlucky few to have to work on or around a holiday, and so then they'll provide food, and so I've told them that I'm vegan, and so what they did is they went to this like local sub place that does these big giant platters where it's just like a whole big tray of like little, like maybe 2 or 3 inch sub, like hand size little subs that you can eat. And so that's what everybody got, just to eat out of this little tray of different things. And they were like, oh, and also there's a vegan guy, can you make us a veggie one? So they weren't going to get a whole platter of veggie ones, so everybody else got these little hand ones, and they just literally just bought me like a foot-long fucking veggie sub. I was like, hell yeah, this whole thing's mine? They're like, well, nobody else wants it. I was like, hey, all right.
Nice.
I'll take that.
Yeah, but you didn't get any of your vital animal nutrients, Kozan. So you were the true loser there.
Yeah. My doctor told me I need meat for B12.
I really want to meet you and Shabir's doctor someday. You should bring him on.
We have the exact same doctor who constantly, like, every checkup is just him, like, telling us, like, 2 sentences about how we need, like, protein from meat and B12 from meat, and then we leave.
No,
Supplements are natural, so you shouldn't take this B12 supplements. You should only get it from a natural source.
Take the supplements.
Supplements
I take
are
all the
unnatural,
supplements. I love
They're not
them.
natural.
They make me feel amazing though. Every time.
Yeah, that's just like chemicals they put in the.
Yeah. GMO probably. Monsanto.
No, but the thing is, like, I think people know that I'm memeing when I do that in AY. Like, I need to actually start doing that in, like, random, like, vegan places. But people actually think I'm serious.
You got to come on to, like, the Reddit vegan Discord and stuff like that.
Oh,
People
shit,
don't know
do you
about
link
you
me to
yet. Yeah. There's 2 actually. There's one that people who are in the AY Discord are not allowed to join, and then there's one that you're allowed to join still.
What the fuck?
I haven't actually looked at Reddit. So what is it? Can I join?
Reddit is canceled.
Yeah. There's 2 Reddit Discords. And one of them one of them is very anti ask yourself. And so if you go there right now and you No. There's another one.
See how
Shadow Starshine is also like his own server. You can do that in there too. But there's 2 Reddit Discords, and one of them is like incredibly PC, and so
good.
They don't let anyone from the Ask Yourself Discord in. And then
give me an invite.
And then there's another one which is just the regular Reddit one, which you can still get in.
Invite me to both.
Yeah, okay. Invite me too.
I'm gonna kill everyone in there.
Bryn, I wanted to talk to you about this link you sent me ages ago. Oh shit, where is it now? This thing that you sent me, which I never actually got to discuss with you.
Okay, yeah.
Rice plants that reproduce as clones from seed. Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. What's it all about?
Do
you remember?
So, yeah, I'm just looking at the article real quickly again.
I'll be one. Yo, what's up with this kitty guy?
Yeah, so the idea is that we've never really cloned. So, like, for example, bananas are actually a clone. And so it's the case that, like, every banana is basically the exact same genetic material. But we've never really done that with rice before. And so the idea is with this is if we created, like, an optimal, like, rice, we could just clone that into, like, infinity and grow basically like the optimal type of rice very cheaply, effectively. Like, this solves a lot of problems with like growing and breeding out types of rice and whatnot, or trying to do like genetic modifications on it.
Do you mean the case that with optimal?
Nutritionally, like environmentally, there's a lot of things that you could optimize for here, right? So the idea is that you could selectively, using like CRISPR or something, you could target like certain genes and basically create like the exact kind of rice that you want. And then from there, you can create these clone seeds that have the exact same genetic material, because you're not creating the seeds sexually. It's just asexual, like cloning effectively. And so it's going to be the case that each rice stock is like the exact same perfect type of rice.
Perfect rice. I would like to see rice that tastes like nutritional yeast that I'll be paying. Can I do that? I'd love that.
That would be pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
It seems weird because I feel like we're almost further along in like the animal version of that than we are the plant version. Right? Would you consider that like lab grown meat is something similar to what you're describing?
Yeah, I am. And so the animal, like the lab grown meat, is a lot closer than stuff like this for sure.
Yeah, that's so odd that I guess it's just like a demand driven thing. Like people would there's more hype about lab grown meat than plants, but it just I don't know. It seems like if we could do meat, then it would make sense that we could do plants. They seem like it would be the simpler of the two.
Maybe this, I mean, the lab grown meat thing has been going on a longer time. They've been researching it for longer, I guess.
Yeah.
But more so than plants. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
What's everyone's opinion on lab grown meat, by the way?
Well, I think I'm for lab grown meat. I think it's a good idea. Have you seen? There's a video that came out recently. It was really good. Sort of like breakdown of what it is and how it's made and stuff. I'll send you the link later. There's no point in playing it because I have no sound on here. But so they've been able to engineer sort of like chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, actually.
Oh, have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And the guy tries it, and he's just like, "Oh, it just tastes like a chicken nugget." I'm like, yeah, well, that's what we wanted people to say. It's just like any regular sort of chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just grow it in a sort of like a petri dish type thing.
Would you eat it? Would you eat like a steak or burger or that kind of thing? Would you eat it yourself?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because I already feel that the vegan versions are so good anyway. So if it was the case that it would be more expensive to eat the lab grown meat, then I don't see why I would. Especially if if it's less healthy, I guess. But they could probably engineer it to be. I mean, a chicken nugget is not really a health food anyway, is it? So But,
vegan chicken nuggets are so similar to chicken nuggets that you can't even tell. Like, have you had I think the Quorn ones are vegan. Have you had them before?
Yeah, I've tried them. I like the brand fries as well. They're pretty good. I don't know if you've had them. You can get them from Sainsbury's, Morrison's.
Tesco do the very own version as well. Mm-hmm. And you can't tell the difference. They're so processed anyway. It's just
that's the thing. I like that kind of processed taste.
Yeah, so do I. Where like probably the same about chicken as a real chicken nugget.
And then the lab grown steak that they produced it's just like a credit card size bit of meat. They haven't been able to engineer it any bigger than that, and they don't know how they're going to like build the texture into it and stuff with the different marbling of fat and all that kind of stuff that you get with a regular steak. They're not really sure about
recently cracked that. I saw these people who recently managed to crack it, and they call it like a 3D. They call it like a 3D way of creating it. And I can't remember the science behind it, but basically they take like loads of different cells and they do this thing to it, and they basically can create that kind of real kind of meaty texture. Because I think they're struggling to get the fat and, like you said, the fat and stuff. A company have very recently cracked that, how to do it in theory anyway.
Mostly like the collagens and the cartilages and stuff, and so that stuff is called scaffolding in like biomedical engineering. And it's because what we're doing, like, to make this process as optimal as possible, is we just grow a lot of basically muscular tissue in a vat, and it being in a vat makes it really cheap in terms of energy, in terms of like nutritional input, and in terms of like energy input. But like you're right, all it produces really are these like chicken nuggets, and that's really cool and all. But eventually, people are going to want steaks and stuff like that, or like that would at least be really fun to market. And so in the future, we might have the ability to scaffold. It's at least like probably like 10 years out or more. This stuff is actually being researched very heavily for like regenerating like limbs or rescaffolding like flesh on people who are burn victims. So the idea would be is that you can like someone like has like a high degree of burn. You can just surgically remove the entirety of the burn and then just regrow that part of the body, basically. This stuff is all being researched in the biomedical field, and eventually it'll make its way over to this field. But in the meantime, it's really cool still that we can have like chicken nuggets and like burgers and stuff that
Wait.
are completely clean.
If you had somebody who had the surgery done, who had like a burn taken off, and then the skin, the cells rebuild that, would that part of their, like, let's say it was their forearm, would their forearm taste like chicken nuggets?
Well, it would honestly taste like whatever their like arm tastes like, because what they're doing is they're taking the starter cells that are already there in your arm. So you don't need to use stem cells always for these sort of things. Stem cells work really wonderfully for a lot of reasons, but you can just take the cells that are already in someone's arm and just force them to repropagate into the arm.
Can I ask for flavored stem cells?
Like the scaffolding stuff, right? Yeah. So what'll be interesting in the future, actually, you're right, is we can take cells from anything really. And because of that, we could create like tiger burgers or elephant burgers, or
human burger.
In the future, you might be able to eat Piers Morgan.
You can also
Brilliant.
You can also mix and match textures and flavors. So you could have like something like sashimi, which is just like safe edible raw fish, but make it taste like chicken or steak or something like that.
Exactly.
So the flavors and textures are two totally different things that are combined, and so there's no reason why you can't just spill something else in there.
Yeah, I think actually the coolest thing about this too is the company that's at like the forefront of this, Memphis Meats. It was started by a cardiologist, and his goal is to actually remove the things from meat that are bad for you on a health level. So what they're doing is trying to create saturated fat and cholesterol-free meat. And so what they want to release in the future is basically beef, but instead of saturated fat, it has like omega-3 fat, like the kinds that you get from fish and whatnot.
Yeah, as well as being able to remove certain proteins that are known to cause allergic reactions to decently sized populations.
Exactly, yeah.
Speaking of cholesterol and saturated fat, when's the back end vegan gains debate going? Does anyone know?
Wait, who is it?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be juicy.
Bart K. He's so weird, that guy.
He's so weird, isn't he?
God.
Someone did a video the other day. I think who was it? Because vegan gains has been getting some right shit.
Yeah.
People, because he couldn't respond for 2 weeks, and everyone's been taking like cheap shots at him now. But I'm interested to see what'll happen, because that Bart K seems very confident, like the most confident person I've ever seen.
It's just, I think it's just all mouth though. He hasn't really got.
Oh yeah, I think it is all. I think it's all mouth.
It's just like Severidge. He just really believes in what he says.
Yeah, isn't it?
Without any kind of anything.
I want to meet Severidge. Yeah, but weird. Be a weird.
Me too.
Weird scenario.
What do you think?
I want them to go around to Severidge versus vegan gains again.
Yeah, I think it might happen.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen. He's just did a video about knee.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I saw that.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has anyone seen the film The Room?
Yes,
No, sorry.
I have. It's ridiculous.
Severidge reminds me so much of Tommy Wiseau with a little, little laugh that he does. Just all the time. It's so funny, isn't it?
Oh my god! Yeah, who's that character they always talk about?
Tommy Wiseau. What's he called? The guy. I can't remember what he's called. Is it John? Not Johnny.
It's something like that, isn't it? Oh hey, hey Johnny. Oh, hey.
Oh hi Mark.
It's got the Severidge laugh. Yeah.
And the sound and look very similar as well.
They do actually, yeah. Like
just like the long weird hair.
Could be just an older version of Severidge when he had black hair. Back in the day when he was rocking the goth look. Yeah.
We need to make that video, a compilation of their laughs together. And
then there's that scene in the film where Tommy Wiseau has just had sex with his girlfriend, and he just gets up and it's just a shot of his bum. It's just, and he just looks like a really old, middle-aged, old kind of. I don't know, kind of veiny guy. Just not very appealing at all. It's a great
That's the best
film.
film of all time. It is a really good film. It's so bad, it's genius. So good.
Yeah, I actually went to a showing of that film. This is totally not vegan related at all, but it was like a cult kind of showing of in this cinema in London somewhere. I can't remember where. But everyone brought plastic spoons to throw at the screen. It was like a thing that you, yeah, the spoons. You know, the pictures on the walls that
spoon art.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, and at the appropriate times, people just throw these spoons at a cinema. It was so bizarre. It was great.
Hopefully.
Totally unrelated to veganism, but you know, we could make it vegan related. We can turn Tommy vegan. Yeah. Do you guys have any other memes you want to talk about before we close down the birthday meme stream? It's almost not my birthday anymore. It's only an hour left, so.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying this nice cream for you.
Oh wow. Is it banana?
Banana and strawberry.
Oh yes.
Dumpster bananas.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So good.
Maybe I should start doing this to save money.
Even just for bananas, man. And I got some mushrooms. I made this really awesome sauce for my pasta yesterday. Good find. Not bad. Yeah, dumpster diving. Do it.
I wouldn't know where to start, really. I mean...
Yeah, I want it to go. I think I'd find something terrible in there as well. I'd be lucky.
There's probably like freeganism groups nearby you, right?
Yeah, there's like a Facebook group from Toronto, so I would assume there should be one in your city as well.
Yeah,
or create one.
There's a girl that I work with that used to do it, actually, so maybe I'll just ask her what to do. Save me a whole bunch of money. Oh my god. Food is so expensive. I think it's just because literally I'm just buying processed food all the time right now.
The funny thing is the bananas they threw out are like perfect, like the best time for you to make ice. Like they're just amazing, like the best time.
But they're not marketable.
I know, because people are stupid.
Yes, yeah. They always sell them at like, I don't know, 20p or something in the shops, but they're all kind of like got bruises on them and stuff. But you know, for a smoothie or
banana bread, and like I don't know, it's good. Happy birthday! Yay!
Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah, it's been an alright birthday actually. I think the more years that pass, the older I get. I don't really do anything much for my birthday other than these live streams. They're kind of like the highlight of my birthday now. I don't really party or anything like that.
Yeah, I know. I haven't done that either in a long time. I just like quiet, kind of calm, chill birthdays. I don't like partying either.
Next birthday, you have to do like a vegan alcohol tasting stream.
Yes.
Just go down all the different liquors. Like
all the vegan friendly stuff review.
Should I just do a drunk stream?
Yeah,
it would be
drunk
trashed
stream,
by the end of it. It'd be awesome.
I wonder how that would go.
Yeah, you got to finish the bottle. You can't waste. What kind of message does that send?
We got to come up with like some drinking game and then just do a drunk stream. Yeah.
Drunk stream. Pin the.
You should watch like videos of Carnist and see how many times, I don't know, say certain words or something. We'll get trashed somehow.
Watch Ferridge, how many times he giggles inappropriately. Drink.
No, we'll end up in the hospital. Come on.
Person who can't stay. The last person to blink when staring at the sun has to take a shot.
All right, I'll do that.
I would love to go sun gazing with Sverige just to see what it's like.
Damn.
Maybe I could do it with. I'll ask Tim Sheaf. I'll go and do it with him. I'll save it for my 40th.
I've made a bet with someone that he'll go carnivore.
Who? Oh, what?
Tim Sheaf.
Timothy.
Yeah.
Did he had some tests done by Goji Man? Said
Yeah.
some tests or something. I don't know what came of that. Is he still eating fish and eggs?
I made a bet with someone and said I bet he's eating meat, and I bet he goes to eating meat and eggs and stuff, and then he did it, and I was like, I bet he goes carnivore now.
I knew that he would. I don't know why. It just kind of because of the issues that he had and just the way that he is.
Yeah.
With the sun gazing and stuff, I kind of I just knew. I don't know. I don't know where.
I knew as well.
But,
Yeah, it's the guy who I sent it to was like, "Nah, crazy. He'll never do that." And literally, like, the week later, he did it. I was kind of like, "Yeah, I think carnivore next for him." That's what I think.
What do you think as well about types of vegans? When I say types of vegans, I mean there's ethical vegans that do activism, like you and I, and then you've got the health vegan.
Oh no.
Kosai knows exactly what I'm about to say.
What is that? Is there a distinction between the two? Because I feel that there is.
We had like a really big meme about that.
Oh, share it. This is a meme stream.
I think that Ren was being purposely obtuse. I'm sure he's going to disagree. He was saying that basically saying ethics or health or environmental doesn't make any sense because all of those things fall under ethical things.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If you're saying you ought to be healthy, then that's an ethical thing, or you ought to be, So it was just him being just like, well, why are you saying ethics? It's just that.
What type of ethic? I suppose.
Well, I differentiate between animal rights, health, and environment.
Yeah. Okay. And animal rights activists then.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an activist if you're just promoting the health side of veganism?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
that's health activism.
Okay, yeah, but it's not. I mean, it's not really promoting animal rights, though, is it? Because you can be healthy while reducing your meat intake. You don't have to cut it out completely.
You can also wear leather jackets as well. Leather shoes.
Yeah. You could do that.
Yeah. For all sorts.
There was a meme that one of my friends showed me yesterday that had a lot of buzz. I think it was on his Facebook or something, but it was like, here's what the animal liberationists don't want you to see, and it was just like a picture of somebody I don't know, he was like petting a fucking calf in the barn or something like that, and it was like.
That's what we definitely don't want anyone to see that.
Yeah, it's just like, and it was like, I woke up at 3 a.m. because this guy was mooing and blah blah blah, and he like came to like comfort him or something like that, and it was like, why would I ever I'm happy that you did that, but like, you're gonna kill him.
Yeah, fast forward a few more months. Forward a few months and take the same photo. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be fun to ask whether or not that calf had been branded yet or had a tag applied to its ear.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, how you treated them in that scenario.
It was funny that it was just one of your like run of the mill like vegan hate posts, but they used the term animal liberationists instead of vegan. So I thought that was kind of neat that some of the terminology is kind of being.
Well, they just agree with me that
up.
Vegan is a vacuous term.
Yeah. So is animal liberations. So.
Well, animal liberation makes sense because there's clearly animals.
Vacuous.
Animals have rights, and there's people who don't instantiate those rights.
That's also vacuous.
Do you think there needs to be another term that we should use for veganism? Or...
It doesn't matter what the term is; it'll be vacuous. It'll just be some other made-up term.
I just think veganism is a term that I'm comfortable leaving behind, and I'm okay with adopting things like saying that I'm on the plant-based diet. And then I'm also like an animal liberationist. Like I believe in animal rights.
You're just saying that because like you want to be able to walk up to a girl and not say that you're vegan. You want to be able to say that I'm an animal hero.
Well, kinda, but also just because it makes sense.
Animal hero.
like vegan is this really loose term. I don't really like the vegan society definition at all.
Yeah.
Like if we go by the vegan society term, then we have to accept things like the Inuit and people who like do animal sacrifices to God as being vegan. And there's something uncomfortable there about that.
Do they further define their stuff anywhere? Or is it just like that's the
that is the vegan society definition? Yeah, practicable is just sort of up to you.
Do they? Yeah. So okay, so they don't ever define any of like the little embedding things.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing, right? If they started to define it, it's going to be the case that they have to define it in terms of negative utility. If you define it in terms of negative utility, then it's probably going to be the case that like anything that you do on this earth is not vegan. So either no one is vegan, or like the ultimate result of being vegan is just everything has to come to a stop, right? Which is also why I think the definition is really poor. I think it's justifiable enough to say on most normative frameworks, an instantiation of animal rights just seems to make sense.
Yeah.
And then all veganism really is, to me, appears to be this instantiation of animal rights.
A vacuous one.
Yeah.
Well, it's not vacuous because there's an antecedent to the consequent.
Okay, so we're just going to go on the causal chain with you two?
Are we about to have like an explanation of infinitism? We'll get Isaac in here and I can we'll debate coherentism versus infinitism live.
Okay. Okay. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, whatever part of the trilemma you want to reject, that's just your base. And then from there, it's non-vacuous to instantiate animal rights. For some people, their instantiation of animal rights is completely emotive, right? Like some people don't even have to reject any part of the trilemma. They just say, you know, my instantiation is the fact that I feel bad about this. I think that's fine too. Like I was talking about that with the guy last night that we were debating with. He was saying like some people just don't care about morality at all. And like they'd find you off-putting. I think that's actually fairly true. Like the only reason I was using that logic with him is because he seemed like a logical guy. But for some people, it's easy enough just to show them dominion. And then they don't really have to think about the logic or the ethics behind it. It's just they're going to intuitively understand that there's a normative framework in their mind that rejects what's going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the case for me anyway. And then I started thinking a little bit more about the arguments behind it and stuff. Because I wanted to explain it to other people, you know. I can't make everyone watch Dominion.
Yeah. And that's the usefulness behind like name the trait, right?
Yeah.
Is you get people thinking about the basic reasons why they might justify anything. And you see whether or not that instantiates animal rights or not. And it's going to be the case most of the time that if you find a system that you're comfortable with for human rights, it also applies to animals.
I kind of like, did you see that debate that JHC did with that fella that got banned from the Discord ages ago? And all he did is just argue for the suffering aspect of... Well,
he was like a solipsist, right? Like he rejected the animals
to
suffer.
That was right. Yeah. And he was just... JHC was just like getting him on that point first before then going on to the morality of it, of killing animals, sentient beings anyway. Like he was just saying, well, do you think that there is suffering or not? And the guy was just like, well, it might be the case that there is no suffering. It was like, well, what about when they go to slaughterhouse? Then it's either they suffer. Is there no suffering throughout the whole of their lives? And the guy was just like, well, you couldn't really answer. So he just got him on that, just the suffering aspect.
Yeah, and I mean, unless the person is a full spiritualist, right? Which is to say that they don't think that there's any physical component of the mind. They're going to have to agree that there are cognitive processes that are explained by physical components of the brain that lead to things like pain and suffering. And because animals have those physical components, we kind of have to just bite the bullet on the fact that animals probably, or at least certainly, like to some degree, have pain. And if they have pain, maybe it's not in the exact same way that we think about pain, but we still have to consider that they have pain. And if we're considering that they have pain, we're giving them moral value there. And there appears to be this riskiness to then harming the animals.
Lab-grown pain.
Did anyone watch Joe Rogan, one of Joe Rogan's recent podcasts where he spoke to? I only saw a short clip of it, but obviously Joe Rogan isn't exactly totally into veganism, and he's a hunter. And he spoke to a guy who was talking about animal cognition. Has anyone seen that?
I think I got it linked to me. It's the dude who believes in quantum consciousness, right?
I didn't watch the full of it, so I'm not too sure. I only saw the bit where he basically said that to Joe Rogan that animals are a lot more conscious than we give them credit for.
Yeah, and they were talking about like octopuses and stuff, right?
Yeah, octopuses. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about as well. I spoke about a couple of other things as well. It was really interesting because it was. I think Joe is so interested in veganism. Like,
Think?
he just don't. Yeah, honestly, how many times do you bring it up?
All the time.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about it a lot, but I'm not.
not.
Like, I would agree that is the type of like thing that you see from people who are about to go vegan. But I think right now, like, his motivation is just to.
Yeah.
I think he wants to desperately so disprove veganism, but he just can't because everyone who he meets, like he was talking to this guy who's like he trains like professional athletes. And Joe Rogan was like, "Oh yeah, low carb," and the guy was like, "No, you can't do low carb, man. Like, it doesn't work like that." And then Joe was like, "But you can do low carb though." And he's like, "Most people respond better to like higher carbs and like more plants and stuff." And Joe just couldn't take it. And then again, this guy comes on like, "Yeah, animals more conscious than we think. They deserve like kind of like more rights and stuff, basically." And you can see it, and he just wants so hard. He's trying so hard because I feel like he's conflicted.
Well, it's almost in his quest to try to debunk what he's doing is he's turning himself vegan.
Yeah, definitely. But he's
He's going to run out. He's going to run out of arguments soon. He just needs to ask himself to talk to him, and it's just like, well, that's it. That's the roadblock.
I think that's what we're waiting for. Literally, the one person that just knows how to put it in a different perspective. That then he's like, "Fuck it."
Yeah,
I think. And I don't remember what they were talking about, but they were talking about vegan athletes, and Joe Rogan was like saying some like negative remarks about athletic people and how optimal they can be on a vegan diet and blah blah blah. And the guy was just like, "Dude, you just had like that vegan like popular like ultra marathon runner on your show like a week ago," and he's like, "Oh no, that doesn't count. That's like ultra marathon.
That's an incredibly extreme amount of athleticism. That doesn't count."
Yeah, he said that it doesn't count because he said something like that's not like MMA. That's like a totally like that doesn't even. Like, veganism works for that, but it wouldn't work for like a real.
There are vegan and vegetarian MMA fighters.
Yeah, what's that guy called? That proper big guy. He's a big geezer. He fought Khabib and got absolutely a bit annihilated though. Well, I guess everyone always does. But I can't remember his name. He's got a bit of a weird name.
No, but I mean, still, these guys, regardless of their name, like they're still at the top of like MMA. Like, people in the UFC who fight who are vegetarian and vegan.
There's a lot of football players now going vegan.
Well, yeah. I mean, heart disease is one of the largest causes of death amongst football players.
There's a vegan football club in the UK. I remember what it's called. Like all their players are vegan.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them too deal with the whole like maybe not appearing to be manly and all that crap. They have this persona to kind of display or show. I don't know.
Like you can appeal to that, but that's just a social construction, right?
Oh no, for sure. I'm just saying that they fucking latch onto that like something else.
What's always really confused me about Joe Rogan in this case is he's someone that's pretty liberal on other topics that seem to be in like terms of like the NAP and like freedom of speech and stuff like that. So here he understands arguments for the instantiation of negative rights.
Dude, we need to get him to like watch Dominion while he's like on LSD or something.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Is like, we just need to get him on enough psychedelics, and then we'll go cuddle some cows or something like that.
Watch him. Take him to a sanctuary and then make him watch Dominion.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Well, what's weird to me is he has like a lot of fringe guests on about these topics. It's weird to me that like with his poll, he hasn't brought in people who are at like the forefront of these fields. Like I'm sure Chalmers and people like that would be willing to come on, and ethicists in regards to this. Like I'm sure William McCaskill would come on if he asked. It's weird that like he definitely has a selection bias in terms of what evidence he views. He doesn't really like to go towards the people that can argue cohesively for these things.
He had Sean. Did you see when he had Sean Baker on? I feel like he was really excited about that. It was like his doctor was agreeing with him. It was like, oh my god, I found one. I found the one who's
going with him. But I think he thought that Baker was a little crazy though.
Yeah, he did. He said later on, didn't he? He kind of said in another episode. He kind of said, "Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bit nuts." But did anyone see Sean Baker's testosterone? By the way,
he never showed the test. That's what he kept saying, right?
Because
his test is low.
It's like 100-year-old man, and he's like, but that don't count.
Because his test is low, which is really indicative of the fact that he's probably running like SARMs or some pro hormone or something, right?
Yeah, do you reckon? Do you reckon he is?
Steroids.
Well, so he always talks about his like willingness to take a drug test, but people have called him out on this and asked him to take a drug test and say like, if you take this and you pass, I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
but he never follows them up on it.
No way.
So he always like says like, if you're gonna call me like out for being a drug user, you have to have evidence. And it's like, okay, we'll take a drug test. If you pass, I'll pay for it. If you don't pass, then like, of course you're gonna pay for it because it's like you're someone that's just abusing roids to try to get away with this argument. But the weird thing to me is like he also has diabetes. He's taken multiple tests now, and so if it wasn't him taking these tests on his own like prescription, a doctor would have diagnosed him with diabetes with the sort of levels that he has in his biomarkers, right? Like he has an extremely high amount of cholesterol, and his insulin resistance is really high.
He probably has diabetes, or he's pre-diabetic at least.
No, like he literally he meets the criteria for the diagnosis of diabetes.
Jeez.
You would think him as a doctor, he would know this, right?
Doctor.
Well, he doesn't have a medical license anymore. He's an ex-surgeon, and so when you get your surgery degree, you don't actually ever have to do any nutrition.
Oh, sorry, my camera was off. He is a doctor.
Well, I mean, like, I don't want to disqualify him too much. Like, he was a doctor at one point, and he might be a doctor again someday. But the kind of doctoring that he did, he never had to take a nutrition course. So it's not really the case that he had to know this stuff.
Yeah,
what's weird to me, and I call him out on this on Twitter a lot, is he doesn't really have a good understanding of the literature he posts in regards to nutrition either. He posts articles frequently that debunk the carnivore diet. Like he's straight up posted articles where the conclusions of the research are that a plant-based diet worked out better than a high meat diet. And he agrees, like he posts like literature that agrees with the dose dependent response of meat in accordance with like things like cardiovascular disease.
He doesn't seem like the kind of person that has the patience to read a whole study. He's probably just picking and then he's like, oh yeah, this seems okay.
Well, he abstract warriors me a lot, and so he gets really mad when I actually go into the study because he also expects that people don't have like the capacity to like have access to these studies.
Or even
so he gets really mad when I open the studies and I like screenshot like the actual data in the study and ask him what he thinks this means.
Epic.
Get a little artistic about it.
I just, are you saying that he like posts these studies fully understanding that it favors veganism, or he posts studies thinking that it has a different conclusion than what it actually
he posts studies thinking that they have different conclusions, basically.
Okay.
He appeals to components of the study that are factual.
Yeah.
But he ignores components of the study, or he doesn't understand what the data actually says.
A bit like Logan Blake.
Yeah, it's really easy to read into the jargon of like medical text, right?
Mm.
And so it's interesting, like he frequently, like the big one that he memes on right now, because he's kind of dished the whole cardiovascular thing because he knows that there's not really any evidence that like the lipid hypothesis is wrong. But his big thing recently has been carnivore diet makes you stronger. Being stronger is good. You should go carnivore. And so his reasoning for this is that you need protein to be strong. And then he appeals to what's called like the DIAAS, which is just the digestibility of amino acid score. And the problem is when you look at the digestibility of amino acids, milk and soy have the highest amount of digestibility, and then like things like beef and chicken are actually less digestible than soy. And so he gets really mad when you bring this up with him.
Have you ever debated him like on a live stream or anything?
No, I mean I talked to him on Twitter a lot, and I've messaged him privately as well as like Ken Berry and a few of the other like meme ketoers. on debating them live, or at least debating them in a recorded like voice setting. And like if they want to publish it, it's up to them.
Right.
Now Sean Baker just calls me Chowderhead and then ignores me a lot.
What? What's that mean?
What even is a chowderhead?
Yeah, I mean,
What even is that?
I don't know. I mean, the problem is like he posts these studies. He gets mad when I like don't just read the abstract, and then he gets like he just calls me a chowderhead and disengages.
Rage quits.
Is digestibility synonymous with bioavailability?
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, yeah.
What about the Seventh-day Adventist study? Because I know that the men fared better than the women, didn't they, in terms of the vegans, and the pescatarians fared better than the vegans.
They didn't fare better than the vegans. That's not correct. There's a statistical...
I remember Avi talking about that.
They did on average, but the confidence interval on it is unclear. So we don't actually know whether they did better or not. It's like there's an overlap there. It's the case that vegans and pesco-vegetarians did better than vegetarians and omnivores, but we're unclear on like which one is better between the two. And then the case of men faring better, that actually happens fairly frequently in these studies, that like women tend to do less well on vegan diets, or it's like the same. There's a lot of reasons for why that could be. It's the factor though that the more you control variables, and so there's been a lot of study done on the Epic Oxford recently, which is like an even larger study than the Adventists. It's the case that the more things you control for that aren't just veganism, the more it's the case that women on veganism do just as well as men do.
So what went wrong with that study then? Why did the men fare better than the women in that?
I couldn't tell you because like those things weren't controlled for, right? And so
what things? Like, what are you talking about?
Well, so like the Adventist study only really controls for like age and height, weight, and some like basic like biomarkers. But with like the Epic Oxford studies, we have studies that control for like 40 to 50 different factors. So they can control things like socioeconomic status. They can control things like certain specific biomarkers. They can control things like activity or like what kinds of vegan foods that they're having.
Wait, I thought that was the Seventh-day Adventist study that controlled.
They have some studies that do that, and the more things you control for in the Seventh-day Adventist studies, the more it's the case that women tend to do better. It's just there was never a study that gets published where the women end up doing better than vegetarians or omnivores, at least within a confidence interval. Right. Like they do better on aggregate. It's just like we're unsure if that aggregate actually checks out, at least statistically.
Right. Okay. I think I understand.
In the future, there will be more and more of these studies. Like there's a lot of ongoing studies of this type where basically you set up a group of people beforehand and you take a bunch of measurements of them, and then you measure the changes over time between vegans and omnivores. A lot of that research won't be out for like another 5 to 10 years though.
Is this like a cohort study though? Or is this just like
cohort studies. Yeah, there's a lot of cohort studies going on. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
There's also a lot of RCTs that have been registered recently referring to like veganism, and also in conjunction with the carnivore diet and the keto diets. So there's going to be a lot more evidence on this stuff in the near future.
Yeah, there's not really too much at the moment, is there? There's just...
Well, I think there is. Like the Epic Oxford is a very powerful study, right? Like it's a study on nearly 1 million people. And there are sub-analyses done that have controls in the order of like 40 to 50 controls that tend to point in the direction of veganism. So to say that there's no evidence would be kind of like a rejection of like nearly like 600 different metabolic ward studies that have been done on this topic, and like the 5 or so major cohort studies that have been done, all of which basically point in the direction of veganism once you adjust for all relevant factors.
That's pretty cool.
A relevant factor.
Oh, there's somebody asking in the chat, what's your Twitter handle, Bryn?
I don't have one right now. I'm working on becoming more of a public individual in the future, but I don't really have one that I'm going to share publicly right now.
It'll be.
You can find me probably by going and seeing the long diatribes that I've had with Sean Baker in the past. I haven't been really active for like the past month or so, though.
Yeah, you can just go on my Twitter where I just post all of me and Bryn's DMs.
Yeah, just go to @cosine, and cosine will have all of our DMs posted.
Just post.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if you just had like a shit Bryn said today in DM's Twitter.
Yeah,
it's just you going off about aesthetic realism.
Yeah.
Like this guy says that he can
instant.
This guy says that there are beautiful things in the universe. What an idiot.
I hate it. What an idiot. That's exactly how I would caption it too.
Imagine thinking that beauty can be non-subjective.
Oh man.
Wait, Kason, what's your Twitter handle?
I actually don't. I've been on Twitter like 4 times ever, so
Okay.
I don't actually have anything on there.
Connor, do you have Twitter or is it just Insta?
I have Twitter. I don't really use it very much. Just Instagram. But mine is Conwills, so CONWLS.
Alright, have you got? Oh yeah, you've got one. Because I just saw that you tweeted about the stream. So thanks very much for that.
Yeah, no problem.
What was the peak viewership? I actually haven't looked.
I think it was like 24.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's like it's after 11 on a Sunday in the UK. It's pretty late.
Oh, it's like the middle of the day where I'm at.
Yeah.
It was from like 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. or something like that I was in here. Or I probably wouldn't hear that long. It's probably like an hour.
Yeah, I don't know if many people from your side of the pond come and watch my channel very often, so that's probably why.
Well, I know like the YouTube algorithm doesn't really optimize for you getting seen. Like I know it took me actually getting to AY's Discord and meeting you to find you, even though I'd already subscribed to like all the American vegans. I think it actually separates it out like that. It's kind of weird.
Is there like any prominent American vegan activists on YouTube? I'm just struggling to think of anyone.
I mean, same.
I would say like people like Richard are like effectively activists.
Yeah.
They just don't do like street activism, basically.
Yeah.
But they're not American.
He's Canadian, isn't he?
Yeah.
I kind of just lob Canada and USA together.
Well, yeah, like Canada is just throwing out the fucking vegan activists, right? But like,
Toronto represent
many for America. I guess you could like Gary was American, right?
No, he was Canadian.
Was he? Oh, man,
yeah.
They're all Canadians. See.
Well,
damn Canadians.
You guys are fierce.
I mean,
Canada is going to be the ethno state. We're going to set up camp there. Might as well.
You guys are welcome here.
I've heard that it's really cool there.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case that most of the activists on Twitter, like there's a lot of health vegans from the States. I think there's even some like good environmental vegans. There are a lot of like academic vegans though, and like people who are pushing. So like a lot of the doctors are American, right? Like Barnard and stuff like that. They're all American.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. But like
PETA is American, right? So
some of our bigger like voices for stuff like veganism are just like your random celebrities who talk about veganism when they're on a talk show, but it's not really the point of them being there. Like
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman,
Beyonce.
Ariana Grande. What's the guy from Run DMC?
Oh.
He's vegan and he talks about it very often.
The guys from Wu-Tang too.
Most of Wu-Tang is vegan.
Really?
Yeah.
Waka Flocka is vegan, and he has
Waka Flocka used to be vegan.
He's not vegan anymore.
Yeah, he's not vegan anymore.
Damn.
He even had a YouTube channel where he did like vegan muffins and stuff.
Yeah, it's really fun. He did it with like Rory and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, was that blueberry one?
Yeah.
Blueberry muffins.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Gary Francione, he's American, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
I think he lives in Norfolk. where I'm from now.
Really?
Well, there's also
Yeah.
me. You know, I'm a big figure.
Cosine, you're gonna
You
be
really
big
are.
someday. I believe
I'm
in
the
you.
biggest.
I believe
Already
in you
the
too.
You're gonna get that adept roll someday, and you're gonna pwn all of the
How
cards.
dare you!
I was really hoping that after my double win last night, I was gonna get the expert roll.
Dude, somebody asked me if I thought that I deserved a depth roll, and I was like, I think so. Like, I think so. And then somebody was like, well, do you think you deserve expert roll? And I was like, I don't really think so. But like, there are so few experts that it's
Yeah.
hard to even understand like what the bar is for expert roll. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it's like Buddha and Bitpuffin, I think, right now, and Destiny.
Yeah, and Destiny, you know, by technicality. Like, I don't think that I'm as good of a debater as Destiny, but I also haven't really heard. I've heard Buddha debate maybe twice, and I've like never heard Bitpuffin debate anybody.
Yeah. No, I think like you probably definitely deserve adept because there's a lot of people who are adept that I think you could probably smash. Expert, you're right though. There's nothing I can like say relative to it, right? It's just like, and that's sort of like, I think that it's actually like just the case. It's just like people that Isaac thinks are expert, right?
Yeah.
And then master, like the people who like have done something like profound and they've made like a new argument, or they're really, 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 really good at arguing for veganism.
Hang on, was Destiny demoted from? Wasn't he
he was a master, and then
yeah.
Who did Destiny debate? Was it? I'm sure I watched something to do with him about a ethno state.
Oh, he was.
Who did he debate?
He did a lot of ethno state stuff for like, you know, he kind of gets on these arguments. So there was like a period of time where he was doing ethno state stuff pretty often.
Yeah, I watched a few of them recently with Sargon of Akkad and Richard Spencer, I think it was.
I think he also did one with JonTron, and then he's also done some that he has streamed and that were from the AY Discord as well. I mean, he did it a lot for a period of time.
Yeah.
But some of my favorite points in time for the Destiny streams were for fuck, I just forgot about it. Oh, the no bullshit. Those are the best. The incest streams and all these YouTube like large self-proclaimed like intellectual like skeptic channels that took debate on the incest argument. And like my favorite one was there was like 2 or 3 videos with no bullshit where it's hilarious how silly he is.
Yeah, there's debate 1. There's like this big Twitter war that they have, and then there's debate 2. And after debate 2, I think no bullshit just kind of like never talked to him again.
Mm-hmm.
The incest one's really funny. There's actually like there's a thing going on between me and one guy in the AY Discord right now on the incest thing, where he still hasn't given me a coherent argument against incest. And he gets really mad that I say I'm against it, but I won't give him an argument yet. I'm just asking him to provide me with one.
Against incest?
Yeah.
Incest is in reproducing, or...
So yeah, it depends on how they frame it, right? And a lot of them, they come in there and they get really mad about like brothers shagging sisters and stuff like that. And they can never really find a coherent argument for why that might be wrong, principally.
It's just socially, but I don't know, because in the Victorian times it was fairly common.
Yeah,
it was very common.
Anti-ancestral views are relatively new.
Yeah, like very new, like very, very new. Like, so I don't know really. I mean, I wouldn't say I would do it, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I can't see why I would be opposed to it.
It's culturally relative too, right? So it depends on the culture you're in. And there are good reasons against incest. A lot of them relate to basically just qualifying the actual romantic and sexual contract, and whether or not you can ever instantiate that with people who are related by blood. There's a lot of criticism about that, but you might be able to come to like some conclusion where it's generally the case that incest is wrong, but there might be some hypothetical case. But the person arguing against incest hates that conclusion. They really just want to say it's principally wrong that incest is wrong. They don't have any reasons why it's wrong.
Yeah, it's like a moral dumbfounding, isn't it? It's just like, well, they just can't explain it. It's just intuitively they think it's wrong, but they can't actually.
But apart from actual breeding, if you said like you weren't going to reproduce and you took measures to no longer reproduce, what would be actually the actual fundamental reason why incest is wrong?
Yeah, so like, for example, the counter case I like to give to a lot of people is two like gay twins who have the exact same job, exact same level of education, have no mental disabilities, and who love each other. It's like,
and they're hot.
And how could you exactly like how could you argue against that?
Yeah. I can't think of a reason why it's wrong apart from as long as there's no reproduction, obviously.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, they're just two gay dudes, right?
Yeah,
how could you argue against that?
It could be wrong, but you can always just wand away those layers, and you get to this core of where you end up at a situation like what Bryn just said, and then you're just like, well, now I just have, there's no power dynamic, there's no high chance of birth defect, there's no there's both participants can consent, there's no overlapping like people will appeal to like just inherently there's psychological damage that's going to come from sleeping with a family member or something like that. There's all these different things that can be tossed on that you can just say, okay, and what about the case where that doesn't happen?
Yeah. So, like the fun ones usually are like the capacity to breed, or it's like if they say it's like it comes to the case that like they might have a child with disabilities. You just make this like really fun argument where it's like women over the age of like 45 to like 50 having children have a higher chance of like breeding children with these disabilities than first generation incestual relationships.
Yeah.
And so it's like if we're gonna ban incest on those grounds, we're also gonna ban romantic and sexual relationships with women over the age of 50.
Oh, that's awful. I want to say that.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. It's like that just doesn't make any sense.
Oh no, that might be me soon.
So you can, like,
but so here's the thing, right? Like, it's actually the case that it's the chances are low, like astronomically low in both cases. It's just that 45 to 50-year-old women have a higher chance than first generation incestuous relationships.
Yeah, I was gonna go off at like to weaken their point about like birth defects. It's really only in that case from a longer history of repeated incest and birth. It's not typically where you're at a huge risk of a birth defect just off of like first generational, like this is the first time anybody in your family has interbred, and there is a higher but still very low chance.
It also has to be the case that it's a recessive gene mutation too. Like it can't be like if there's a dominant gene in one of the two, these recessive gene mutations are never going to come out. So it has to be multi-generational, and there has to be some recessive gene mutation going on.
Yeah. So the whole and then you can just like, I guess even if they were to like bite the bullet on that, then you could just slowly work your way down the ladder until you get to like just full eugenics or something like that. So it's just
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
It's just an awful argument.
Like disabled people aren't allowed to breed, that kind of thing. It's just insane. Yeah. Like where did you draw the line?
It becomes like a massive infringement of people's libido as well, I think.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awful. I've never thought about this in depth before.
Yeah, I know. And now I'm just like, oh my god, I'm arguing for incest. What the hell?
Pro incest.
What's wrong? First people hate me because of organic, now it's because of incest. Like, you get so many haters.
Wait till they see the new bandwagon that you've jumped on now.
Change my mind.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. I don't mind that. I like the haters. Brings all the views to my channel.
They do. They actually do. It's the great irony of trolls. They're probably the best thing for your page.
But you could just take like a really kind of like make a destiny move here and just be like, well, all of those hypothetical situations are all nice and dandy, but I prefer, you know, down here in the real world in practicality, all of those layers that do have legitimate points of attack, like power dynamics and social, you know, and not understanding social, the social impact, blah blah blah, all these different things that could be said that would be valid arguments against incest are almost always going to be the case. Now, you can always push somebody to, okay, well, what if none of those exist? You can bite the bullet that could be possible, but still like reject possibly all incest that actually occurs or that actually potentially would occur, like in quote unquote, you know, reality. Is there a Bryn, do you know if is there a word for that kind of like explanation? Is there something that like is that ever anything that philosophers talk about where it's just like, okay, well all that stuff works out in, you know, up here in hyperspace, but like, you know, like are there any positions that just totally revolve around like what is reasonable to happen like on Earth, and they just kind of like what Destiny puts forward, like, okay, well, we can come up with creative hypotheticals all day, but you know, aliens raping everybody isn't really likely. So, you know, I'd rather have a position that works out more practical and has bad bullet bitey things up in hyperspace than have the opposite, or have ones where I don't have to bite like especially egregious things, but it works out better in.
Yeah, it's called practical ethics, and so like applied ethics is like how we map normative ethics onto practical ethics. So it's like, what normative things can we apply into a practical space? And so like questions of like applied ethics are like, if we took this like normative thing to be true in the real world, that would be like the applied case. But sometimes it leads to like things that are like ethically queasy. So like one of the big common things with this is a lot of people, if you talk to them about like abortion for a long time, they'll end up siding pro-life normatively. But when you start mapping the pro-life conclusion onto the real world, there's a lot of queasiness with other ethical arguments and other ethical cases. So it ends up being the case that in the practical sense, most people tend to agree with pro-choice, even if they can principally hold like the normative view that we ought to be pro-life.
I've spoke about this with a few people, and I can't find a reason to be for pro-life. I was very much I was very much for abortion, and I think now I can't justify it anymore.
Yeah,
I've really tried to go for it and thought like, right. And my brother's girlfriend she's massively for like pro-choice. We always debate about it, but I can never I struggle to justify abortion. I think I've had a lot of shit for that as well. I got asked once by somebody on my Instagram, and then I said like, oh no, I can't really justify it, and I got a torrent of shit for it. And I don't understand why. I don't get why. I don't understand why I got
also, for example, like normatively, we might say that there's reasons why we shouldn't infringe upon the negative rights of something that has the capacity for sentience, right? And so we'd say like, because there is this possibility, or at least there is the biological capacity for pain and the like desire for life. Well, it might be principally bad to say that abortion, you know, is bad, but what is actually the case is like there's cases like in like rape and whatnot, where if a child gets created in rape, maybe that's ethically queasy for us to force that child to be birthed. Or if like it's like there's the case where the child would suffer heavily, well, then what really are we doing by bringing that child into the world? We're just consigning them to a life of suffering.
Yeah. So your arguments there are just like abortion on like kind of these edge cases rather than like he was looking for one that was like direct.
So it's just like not from like these kind of extreme circumstances of like these. It's just kind of like that. It's like these two people who knew the consequences of having sex, but then decided to do it anyway without the necessary precautions and got pregnant. And then they were like, oh yeah, fuck it, I'll just kill the baby. that kind of thing, I feel like it's wrong because just the wheel's in motion for a life now. So it's I feel like that is the kind of the cutoff point. Is if you've done, it's like everyone knows full well, like no one has a baby and goes, oh shit, no way, I didn't know that was going to happen. Like everyone knows that it's going to happen. Everyone knows the consequences of the actions and stuff. So I do struggle to find a way to say, yeah, it's okay to terminate that potential life that's going to come into existence. And I can never find like a logically consistent position to be for abortion in that circumstance. I can understand like rape cases and things like that makes more sense for a baby to, like, I think that's a stronger argument. But then again, I don't know how many is that, like 0.1% of abortions will probably be rape cases. I don't know.
Sure. So like one thing I would say is like, if what your normative stance is that we ought to maximize like well-being, for example. And so what you're saying is like bringing in this life to Earth is maximizing well-being. What I would criticize you on is the certainty of that action. And so what is actually the case is we can't be certain that that actually maximizes well-being. For example, what if it's the case that this child is like a psychopathic murderer or just a terrible individual that's unreasonable to be around? And so by bringing this child into like the world, all you're really doing is causing the massive suffering of two individuals, which is their parents, or even more so, like onto the rest of the world.
Well, you could say that's like an antinatalist kind of argument as well, though, isn't it? Right? Like by having children, you're going to cause them suffering in the future as well.
Well, I mean, possibly, but like if you were an antinatalist and then let's say that you accidentally had a child, right, or you accidentally got somebody pregnant, then you ought to have that abortion, like the.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you said it's okay to abort a baby because the baby might be a psychopath. Is that what you said? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
so
what happens if the baby is already born and then you find out the baby's a psychopath? Is it then okay to kill the baby?
Well, this is actually like even more interesting. If it's still your principle that we ought to maximize well-being, we already do things like murder psychopaths, and so if we now know that a psychopath, like if we're consigning other psychopaths to death, then it doesn't seem to me that it's very wrong to kill this like 3-week-old psychopath.
Which psychopaths though? Because there are fully like for instance, like there's a goalkeeper called David James who's a fully functional psychopath who I think like just because you're a psychopath doesn't always mean you're going to kill. I feel like
no, this is true. This is the problem of moral uncertainty, right?
So
we're not sure what might end up happening.
I wouldn't see like the potential of a psychopath being born into existence is a reason to just wipe out somebody who also might not be. It's almost like guilty until proven innocent. That's a very wrong way to look at the world, to like kind of say.
There's different weight there, because like so at one level, you have somebody who's born and is likely to just be a person that lives their life, and then you have the risk that and then there's also like on the negative side, they cause tremendous suffering, or even just to themselves. Like they could just be a person who is just extremely depressed or something, which isn't terribly uncommon. And so it would still be like you've brought somebody into the world who just experiences like mental anguish all the time.
Yeah, I don't know how many people like that actually exist in the world. I think that's a very big minority, I'm going to say, who feel total anguish. I don't know. I still like. I mean,
there's also cases like.
I still think that's a strong case to terminate a potential existence. Like, if you want to say the potential of them being psychopath, there could also be the potential that could have been the baby that could have cured cancer. So they could have maximized well-being massively. So, like, to say there could be a psychopath, I could also say they could cure cancer and AIDS as well. That would massively increase well-being.
Yeah. And so, like the antinatalists, for example, their argument is that it's overwhelmingly the case that it's not people that cure cancer. It's just overwhelmingly the case that it's people that have a suffered experience. So things like, economic situations of most people is that they're going to not be a rich individual. They might even be like broke or poor or in debt. Or there's things like, Benatar goes even further and he says that like there's this thing called the asymmetry, and it's like the case of not having been born, not having good because of that, is asymmetrical with having been born and now suffering, because not having good is just sort of neutral. Not having suffering is good, but having suffering is bad, and having good is good. So it actually ends up being the case that there's this asymmetry that results in what appears to be life being more suffered than not having life. And so that's how they just sort of get, that's how they get to antinatalism. You can sort of reject that on a lot of ways. You can say that it's actually the case that there isn't such thing as a suffered life, or that there are ways to get around a suffered life.
It's correct if I'm wrong. Did you say at the beginning, like, monetary reasons would be a reason to have an abortion? Like, if somebody's financial status isn't, they're not rich enough to have a child. Well, that's like,
if their life is more suffered than not, right?
That seems like a carnist kind of, like, it's like someone saying, like, oh, I can't afford, like, the expensive mock meat stuff, I'm going to stay vegan because my well-being will suffer.
Well, no,
because
it would be like, if you want like a more extreme example than just like money, it'd be like, imagine someone who is like homeless and has a drug problem and blah blah blah, and that person gets pregnant. Then you would be like, oh, or I mean, even before that person got pregnant, you would probably say that person shouldn't get pregnant because it's likely that whatever child that they bring in won't be properly cared for. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be something like, you shouldn't bring that baby into bad conditions.
So, like, essentially, only the rich are allowed to have babies.
Not only the rich.
Well, not even only the rich.
People who can like responsibly take care of a child. It absolutely doesn't have to be rich, but
I don't know.
For example, let's just go with like pain and pleasure. And so it's the case that a presence of pain is bad. If it's like, so basically it's just this asymmetry comes down to, it's like, if there's an absence of pain, that's a good thing. If there's a presence of pain, that's a bad thing. If there's a presence of pleasure, it's a good thing. If there's an absence of pleasure, that's just sort of neutral. And so just because of the existence or the capacity for pain in a human existence, it's the case that existing is just necessarily more suffered than not.
But I would say that suffering is always technically a bad thing. Yeah, I think it was Marcel Proust who kind of said the best years of his life.
Yeah, this is one of the like chief arguments against antinatalism, is that it's unclear that a presence of pain is actually bad.
Like, for instance, like
most people suffer though. That's the thing. Like, even if you're rich, you're still you're still suffering. You're not enjoying your life still. You just.
Well, this is
also like depression
and stuff. You've got an addiction to whatever.
It's a view called like negative utilitarianism, where it's just the view that suffering is what really matters, and that we ought to just reduce suffering as much as possible. And so the way to do that is just to never have children, because children will have suffering.
But that would totally just be that'd be the human race gone, though. That'd be it. It'd be no more.
Yeah, they'd be okay with that because that would be ethical, right?
Are you referring to?
It doesn't have negative value, so that's not a.
Are you referring to the guy? I can't remember his name. He wrote the book. It was better to not have been. What was he called?
Yeah, that's David Benatar.
Oh, was that him? Yeah, I listened to him on Sam Harris's. On his podcast. I can't remember much what he said because it was a few years ago when I listened to it. But no, I still wouldn't say that's. I still wouldn't say that's like a reason to have an abortion just because of the potential negative suffering of.
Well,
yeah,
so
but just to say, like Bryn's giving an argument like as what like an antinatalist or what a negative utilitarian.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were making. Sorry, I thought you were actually saying that's the reason why.
No, I mean that is a reason why. If you want to reject that reason for some other reason, then that might be the case. They have lots of justifications for why suffering is bad and we should optimize to reduce it. But there's also even arguments that don't take into account suffering reduction optimization. They could say quite simply that all you're doing is acting riskily when you have a child. For example, there's a non-zero amount of people that will have Down syndrome, or a non-zero amount of people that will have congenital birth defects that happen postnatally. And so by not having an abortion, you're kind of consigning yourself to this riskiness of having given this child a suffered life.
The only thing is, though, if you take that into consideration, I was meant to be born with an enlarged cranium and fluid on my brain, spine, and lungs, so I shouldn't be able to walk, talk, and I should have a breathing apparatus as well. Mm-hmm. And I was not meant to live past my teens. I came out perfectly healthy, so there's also room for errors as well. So you could potentially terminate a completely healthy child.
Sure.
but there would still be a non-zero chance that your like recovery isn't the case, right?
Yeah.
So like to think of it in a different way, you could be like, do you think that if there was a button in front of you that could give a random person like Down syndrome, would it matter if you pressed it? And most people would say yes, right? So then now replace the button with like choosing to have a child, right? So then like would you have a child if it meant that there's a possibility that in doing so somebody has some type of like you could think of a more debilitating thing than Down syndrome, but there are arguments that are better, that I think that vegans on average are more accepting of, and there's some kind of like sciencey gray stuff in here that I'm sure that Bryn will yell at me about, but it's basically that a lot of vegans care about sentience, they care about things that have perceptions, and so if you want to be pro-choice, then you have a time span between conception and what's it called? Like development of some type of experience. So like when the sperm hits the egg, it's not automatically conscious. There's some week or month-long period before that happens. So you could say that within that period, before any type of sentience or consciousness is developed, then it is nothing more than unconscious cells, and there's nothing wrong with terminating something inanimate.
Yeah, it's just the potential that I see the issue with, not rather than like the lack of sentience. It's the wheels in motion. It's a certainty that this is going to happen. Yeah, I think potentially you can just write off. I think that's a very important thing.
Appealing to the potential has like reductios that people tend to not want to have to agree with. So it'd be like you could think there's tons of different ways that you could frame it, but you could say something like, okay, so let's imagine that we can create like a sentient robot, right? Sometime in the future. It doesn't matter how long, right? And so you could say that now, because we're able to create consciousness out of machinery, that means that random motherboards now have value because they have the potential to be something else, right? Or some other thing where you have like, technically you could say that if you believe in evolution, you could say that humans came from single-celled organisms, therefore single-celled organisms have the potential to become humans, or anything like that.
I think that's clutching at straw. I don't know about that one. I agree with the motherboard one. I can see where that's coming from, but I'd probably say like, that motherboard. That's a good one. I'd probably say the motherboard by itself, no, probably not. But so if the machinery was in motion to create that, if the machinery was in motion to create that actual robot, then I'd probably say it's wrong to stop the production of the robot being created. I don't actually know. Shit, I don't even know. That's a weird one. Yeah, point.
So it would be. So that's something that's commonly people feel like that's like a really fuzzy thing, where it's just like, well, it's not just cells laying somewhere. It's like it's already something that is in the process of being created, right? It's not, it's already like, if you let it be, it will be a human.
Yeah, you have to physically, it's the pulling the plug and like putting the stop brakes on and saying like, nope. Do you know what I mean?
So you could just say that, like, let's say that just to make, for like an easy thing, let's say that I could make a pizza that was sentient. And I'm only saying that because it's easy to understand like what goes into creating a pizza, right? So let's say that I do the dough and I do the sauce and I do the cheese and I'm about to do the toppings, and then you stop me from creating that pizza. Was that immoral of you to do so? For you to just stop me from putting, I mean, the pizza is nothing. It's like making Frosty the Snowman and just saying don't put the hat on, right? Is it immoral to knock the snowman over before you ever put the hat on it?
No.
Okay, then you're like rejecting the.
You could say that every single sperm has to fertilize every single egg as well.
No, because I feel like the building blocks. It's like you're building it's almost like, but I feel like it's. Oh man, it's late and I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
It's
late in the UK.
Nearly midnight. I need to get to the gym still as well. Oh, let me think. Well, no, it's because it's like it's not somebody creating that baby. It's not like somebody's building that baby inside that is conscious. The baby's just happening, and it's grown on its own. I'm not obviously with the mother assisting as well, but like it's not somebody consciously building that is creating that. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
If there's like causal chains that lead to, for example, a baby being born, and that's what we want to appeal to, there's also causal chains in the universe that lead to new life being created. And so what we'd say is it would be like unethical, for example, to break apart amino acids, because amino acids are en route to becoming life eventually. And so if you like microwave an amino acid long enough, it's going to break apart. And if that's the case, then you've done something unethical there, if causal chains are what we're appealing to.
Yeah, bacteria.
Again, I wouldn't say bacteria on the same level as like a sentient human.
But like both are on a like. So if we were to find like
the potential of a bacteria and the potential of a human are two completely different things.
Well, they're both on the same causal chain. Just one's further back. Like you're looking at XYZ, and we're saying, okay, well XYZ happened because of ABC. So what's wrong with ABC? You see what I'm saying? Like where X is like a human gets pregnant, but like A is like the bacteria starts to evolve, right? So those, you know, that big bacteria becomes the person that has the baby that decides to get an abortion or not, right? So it'd just be A is the bacteria. It's still the same cause of events.
Now, what's interesting about sort of all these antinatal views is we started this discussion on pragmatism and practical ethics. What's really interesting about antinatalism is it really falls apart at the seams in practical ethics. And so this is one thing David Benatar's never really adequately answered, I think. For example, he doesn't really have any way to justify the sort of really suffered end state, which is like, if we stop having children, we're gonna get to the point where there's like just a bunch of 80-year-olds who are having a suffered experience. And the instantiation of that suffering seems to be against his norms. And moreover, it seems to be in at least the practical world that there's no way to stop the development of life in the universe since it's already happened, and there's no reason to suggest that it won't happen again. And so there's these really strong criticisms against holding the antinatal view or a negative utilitarian view, because instead what you can do is you can just say, like, look, it appears to be the case that although there are some humans that suffer and that there's this moral risk here, there's also a moral risk, and Connor brought this up earlier, with humans not existing, which is like they don't solve things like cancer, or they don't solve things like global warming, or they aren't able to go out and like colonize Mars and stuff like that and bring well-being to Mars. And so this is why practical ethics is a really complex space, because it's for every sort of risky thing that you have, there's another risk on the other side.
Would antinatalism be like pro some type of like uncontrolled cause of events that would cause like some human extinction, like global warming or something like that? Like,
they're not exterminists, so they don't. Okay. Not all antinatalists view that human life needs to be wiped out. The only thing that they do is they assign a negative value to birth because of this, either the asymmetry or the moral risk of having a birth.
Yeah.
But to say that we should end life is a complex argument that doesn't really seem to be answered as well by the antinatal arguments.
I guess it's slightly different what I'm saying. It's not that we should end life, but if there were some impending doom, then we shouldn't stop it. You know, so like just imagine some impending doom that isn't caused by, you know, that it's just like, all right, there's this meteor coming. It's going to extinct everybody. We shouldn't really do anything to stop it because we want to be antinatal, right?
At least as far as Benatar is concerned, no, he wouldn't hold that view. He would say that there are things, if we can do them, that we should do to increase well-being.
Okay.
Or at least minimize suffering and maximize like non-pain, right? And so, for example, in the case of global warming, he's very open to the view that we should try and stop it as much as we can.
But if there was some type of like bacteria that spread that killed everybody, but in a euphoric way,
then he might have to bite the bullet on that.
Get him on here.
Oh my god!
Talk to him.
But he still, as far as I'm aware, he still doesn't assign a positive value to death. It's just the negative value to life.
I understand what you're saying. I wasn't trying to like put a positive value on death. I was just trying to say like because you understand that like you could think of antinatalism as like a soft externalism because they both like result in the same. Like if you're an external, you're a natalist. If you're how do you say an exterminist?
Yeah.
So like exterminism would grant you antinatalism.
Yeah,
right. So like if you're an antinatalist and you want to like ensure that no more suffering is added to the world, then like if there was some like impending doom that wasn't going to just torture everybody, then maybe it makes sense to let it happen, right?
Well, for example, he's not going around saying that we should like euthanize non-adopted children. Like we shouldn't go out and euthanize all the orphans. His view is that there is still well-being that can be generated in life.
Yeah.
And so what we should do and we should strive to do is optimize for that well-being. Because then you've moved past the moral risk and you can start moving into things that are a little bit more certain.
I feel like it feels very consequentialist, like kind of like I feel like just only caring about well-being can take you down some tricky routes. Like
this is negative utilitarianism.
Yeah, it seems like a very awful way of looking at things. It's like, if you could drug a baby, it's like if you could drug like a baby to make her not feel anything, and it would maximize a guy's well-being to sleep with that baby, and the baby wouldn't feel a thing. Would that be okay if the baby didn't feel any pain and it maximized the guy's well-being? It's like, well, no. But
that's well-being maximization. That's not suffering minimization.
But
there's no suffering.
It's only about suffering. So you could just stop the argument with, should we inject people with a thing that like makes it so that they can't feel pain or something like that? And then that would be it. You don't need to increase somebody else's well-being. You just need to reduce somebody's suffering.
Or there's just a pragmatic problem of negative utilitarianism, which is that any pleasure is unethical if it doesn't reduce suffering. So things like Netflix are unethical all of a sudden. And the only thing you should be doing is be standing out on a street corner yelling about rape and murder and veganism and whatnot.
Why does pleasure have to overcome some type of suffering?
Well, it's because you acted. So basically, the idea is that if a moral judgment is on the basis of thing that you did versus thing that you could have done. And so the only thing you chose to do was not reduce suffering when you could have reduced suffering.
Okay.
Ethical action. Mm-hmm. And this is actually how a lot of vegans get owned in debates, is they end up, through the vegan society definition, biting into that practicable term, and practicable embeds a negative utilitarian facet to it. And then they say, well, you could have been not driving, and you could have not used that cell phone. Yeah. And you could have just not eaten food at all.
That's where the needless comes in as well. It's like, I've heard that when you say needless, it's like, well, you bodybuild, which means you eat more calories, therefore you're causing more plants and you're causing more food to, like, more mice and like more insects being killed. Like you're just as bad as me. And it's like
that's what Athene did to Vegan Gains, but I don't think Vegan Gains is a negative utilitarian. But because he's used things like the Vegan Society definition, I think that it made sense to maybe try and attack that anyway. But
it was the donut argument, wasn't it? That was the donuts that brought it down. It was
it was the
you don't eat a donut,
and stuff like that. Like you eat donuts and I eat nothing but lentils. So like Athene would be trying to be the ideal negative utilitarian, whereas Vegan Gains wasn't actually trying to propose a negative utilitarian view. So it was frustrating for him to have all of these different to be having to defend these things that aren't actually like reductios of his view.
That was quite a good point, and I thought quite a good. I thought he really got him there, to be fair. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the weaker debates I've seen Vegan Gains do, but
it only gets you if you allow yourself to be lobbed into the negative utilitarian worldview.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit. feel you got to set yourself up for it. And I think that it's a very easy thing because it's saying the word needless straight away. So it's like, well, it's needless, sweet animals. We don't need to do it. It's like, and it's such an easy thing to say sometimes.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get caught into it.
Clear, but like, here's the thing where like Athene was like especially clever, was that anytime that Vegan Gains got himself into a spot where he was able to draw a distinction between him and a negative utilitarian, Athene would bring up these loaded videos and these clips and these audio clips of Vegan Gains saying something else that would imply negative utilitarian if you weren't privy to the full context, right? So anytime that Vegan Gains did get himself into a place where he was able to separate himself, Athene could just throw in this other thing and just be like, oh no, here you're negative utilitarian again. And it was just like, and in the moment of that debate, I'm sure it would have been very difficult to realize that you're being pegged onto negative utilitarian.
Yeah.
And I guess hindsight, the best thing to do would to just be like, no, here is my position. Those are just you picking out vagueness of words and trying to pin me into reductios to a system that I don't hold.
Yeah, it's so hard when you're in the moment though, and there's people watching to ever see it. It's hard to do. Yeah. What's the most recent Vegan Gains debate that you had? What was it? Who did you debate? Can't remember his name now.
It's not even Banana's stream anymore. It's just the.
I was gonna say I'm falling asleep. I need to go to
bed. I got food.
I gotta go at 7, like 7 hours time.
Oh. I'm gonna shoot off, I think. So.
I mean, it's good timing because I'm about to be walking into the store right now. So.
Cool. Well, it was nice talking to you guys.
Yeah. Does anyone have Instagram, by the way, or is everyone just YouTubing?
Yeah, I got an Instagram, but it's like a private one.
Yeah, same. That's what I was gonna say.
I got Instagram.
If anyone wants to talk to Cosine and Bryn, you can find them in the Ask Yourself Discord.
Oh, sound sweet.
Yeah, I have an addiction to it, so we will be there 24/7.
Yeah, Bryn are in there quite a lot.
Manning the server.
Thanks for having us, Banana. Happy birthday.
Yeah, son, happy birthday.
It's not my birthday anymore.
It's your birthday all week. Who cares?
Yeah. It's the birthday week.
Birthday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over now.
Yeah, birthday week is preferable because it maximizes well-being.
It does. Yeah.
See, this is the problem though, Cosine, because we're just gonna have a birthday monster now, where every day is your birthday.
Yeah.
Because it maximizes well-being at no cost.
You would get it. No. It would be a very mathematical and statistical thing that would have to bring in psychology because you would hit a point of diminishing returns, and so then you would have to stop the birthday for a sufficient amount of time until the well-being mapped up again or ramped up again.
Yeah.
So it would be
jump
quite
on the
complex.
Discord and continue this.
Well, to be fair, we could just like lobotomize people every time that they start to feel like they're no longer enjoying the birthday.
Yeah.
and then just reconnect the tissue. Yeah.
It's like yin and yang. You can't have one without the other.
Or
there's no black unless there's white, There's no white unless there's black.
No. That would also have diminishing returns because you would get to a point where you'd be so lobotomized that you can know, like, you're now like experiencing such a diminished amount of well-being.
Oh god,
that's just a repugnant conclusion in regards to lobotomies, right? That we ought to lobotomize as much as possible as to maximize the amount of well-being.
Yeah. So there's probably here's the thing. There's some sweet spot.
This is going forever.
Well, so what you could do at a certain point, Cosine, is you could use like.
This is exactly what me and Bryn's DMs look like.
You could use like dopamine reuptake inhibitors. You could just you could basically force the people to feel dopaminergic always.
Yeah.
In regards to the birthday.
The thing to do to give people as many nootropics as possible, and then also some type of some type of chemical inhibit anything that isn't straight euphoria. So you would want to strengthen the mind as much as possible, and then also just fill it with just euphoric chemicals.
Kosan, what Wesley has already given us the answer on this. We just give everyone cognitive behavioral therapy every single day as part of their birthday present, and then every day they get reset on their birthday preference.
Wouldn't Wesley's conclusion be that he thinks that everyone should just be emotionally void, right? He would wouldn't he have to bite the bullet at some point that that you ought to just if you don't want to have suffering caused, then you should just be unemotional. Well, he wouldn't have to say that because he just thinks that you have control over.
Well, so his argument is that your ability to have not caused harm is voided by the ability for them to not have been harmed.
Yeah.
But it's still the case that we could give everyone cognitive behavioral therapy and just have them like their birthday every day.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm out. I've really got to get I'm going to work in the morning.
On that note, it was nice talking to you, Banana.
Yeah, it really was. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll do the same next year. Or maybe we'll do these streams again more often because I've really enjoyed it. So thank you much.
Every day, so
I'm always around.
I'm having a birthday. Yeah, let's have a birthday every day.
Okay. I don't know if I can do every day, but I'm down to come and meet on the regular.
Okay, good.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
See you later.
Happy birthday.